this is different. This is magnificent, man. I like this. I enjoyed myself to the fullest, and I can't wait to come back on. I can't wait to see it, see more of the people on here.
And it's also wonderful to hear people talk sanely to each other.
You have something amazing going with this show because you're there and you're educating us.
I mean, yes, pain is inevitable. I mean, there's a reason we have these sensors in our body. I mean, they're warning signs. In other words, something hurts. Obviously, something is amiss.
She told me her story again about her and her dad, but she also said, by the way, my father passed away. She's an only child. She didn't have any family. And she asked me to walk her down the aisle. That's the part that changed.
It's just that cruel moment of when you realize there is no hope. That tears at me, but it doesn't tear at me anymore because there was hope. I hung on just long enough to come out the other side. And here I am. Look at me, all beautiful and stuff.
This thing has drawn me out of myself and thereby drawn me into myself. But I learned a lot. And from you, I always learned something from you.
Continue to work as hard as you can, because by working, Avi, you will keep yourself busy and get used to the grief.
Another trio of questions, now more underrated. We have Billy D. Williams, Italian men named Skippy, or unicycle.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi. That's
Archie Bunker, the mountain climber, Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone, the computer repair person.
It's clearly an issue with the hard drive.
I'm going to go Don Corleone.
Where I went around, I visited all the adults first in the Stony Brook University Cancer Center, and then I visited the children. And I would say the adults were at least as enthused and joyful to see Santa.
And I got a chance to get to know Joe Weider. Joe was like a second father to me. He took me under his wing. He introduced me to art. He introduced me to history.
There are those of us who like to venture to the unexplored, to see the beauty in the strange and unknown. Those of us who go out there with a sense of wonder. It's the magic of risking everything for a dream that nobody sees but you.
Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the shadow of the shade. Yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me, unafraid. God, matters not how straight the gate, how punishment charged the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright. And when they fly away, the part of you that knows it was a sin to lock them up does rejoice. Let me tell you about a voice. The one that whispers. It tells me what's right and what's not, when to leave and where to go. It's not Shakespeare. It does not speak in memorable lines. My inner voice always gives it to me straight. Tells me who my real friends are. When to say yes, when to say no. Whether the person sitting next to me is the one I'll be spending the rest of my life with.
You already know that dedication, hard work, and perseverance gives positive results.
Let your instincts guide you.
What would you do if you weren't an actor? If you didn't make it as an actor, what would you do? I have no idea. I would act somewhere, because I'll die if I don't.
A blast. I want to dance with somebody.
There we go.
I'll do it.
I do too right now, guys and gals. And you know,
but I was going, Tom, Don, I'm a true fan. Yo, I never watched all of your movies through, Tom, because they scared the crap out of me. Love y'all, man.
Pleasure. Great to meet you. It's great to meet you too, Trent.
Yeah, Avi, you did a great job.
Hi, I'm Rick Barry, a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame and one of the NBA's top 50 players. And I'm really excited to tell you about my new relationship in the broadcasting world with the new network.
It's TKN, and a young man named Avi Klein has poured his blood, sweat, and tears into creating this new network and assembling an amazing group of individuals to co-host shows with him.
Legends from every walk of life who are just bringing their knowledge and their experience and their wisdom, and this is amazing. I feel like this is a cosmic convergence of what is most important to him, and he's such a stand-up guy.
Here, but with a very warm heart for Avi and thanking him for all the work he's put into creating the new network. For me, I have just a teeny part of this in terms of having a program that's based on storytelling, where I get to share some of my stories with you.
I can't even imagine how hard Avi Klein worked. He tells me he gets 4 hours of sleep a day, and I actually believe that, because Avi is so passionate, he works so hard.
There is nothing that was on TV tonight that even remotely rivals what we did on this broadcast.
I am so grateful for our friendship. And you know what? You appreciate things in people that make such a difference. You make each of us feel like we're more than we know how to even thank you. Anyway.
It's very respectful, and he really connects with the artists and his audiences, and I felt like this guy's on to something, and I'm proud to be a part of this with him.
And I really thank your support. I lost my father, and you were the first person to support me in all that, and I thank you so much for that.
Avi, congratulations. I don't know anybody that can talk as much as you. Seriously, I thought I could talk. You are unreal. But you do it with class, understanding, professionalism. You're simply amazing. I told you that when I first met you, and you ran off my autobiography. It basically was a book. It was simply fantastic. And to think that you do that every show.
Greatest wealth is when you can share it with someone. You can share your victories, you can share your failure, you can express your deepest feelings, but the greatest wealth is to be able to say that I have a friend, and I feel an unbelievable level of wealth, and a lot of that is because I have somebody like you.
Last name Ventura, first name Jesse.
I'll tell you this, Avi, you definitely do your homework.
John Amos.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. God bless you.
I hope you're getting paid a lot. That was the greatest intro I think I've ever had.
So I'm highly impressed. So I would give this a very high A.
Well, thank you very much. I can't think of a better way to begin the new year than with you.
Avi, always great to hear your voice, kid, and to hear your intros. You're amazing.
Last name Davidson, first name Tommy.
Nice. I think that's the best intro I've ever had.
Did you have a nice time tonight in the green room?
I had a great time. I can't tell you how refreshing it is that somebody knows what they're doing.
Avi is a poet, but he doesn't know it, but his feet show it. You're unbelievable.
Winning it all, competitive juices, are they all there, Joe?
Man, the competitive juices don't stop.
Oh, are you here to win the whole darn tournament?
I don't play. I just win.
You're chomping at the bit to get in this thing.
Oh yeah, man. I've been telling you, brother. You brought up some names to me, and I was like, I can't wait. I hope they don't see me because it's gonna be on like a steaming pot of neck bones, baby. And I'm not playing.
Mike, I gotta ask you the golden question. Are you here to win the entire thing, my friend?
I'll just say this, Avi. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
But are you here to win the entire celebrity tournament when it's all said and done?
I saw a very familiar face in Mike Rotundo, better known as IRS, and he said that he was here for the winner chicken dinner, and I want to take away that chicken dinner. So yes, I want to win this whole shebang.
First name Joe Smith. Welcome, my friend.
Oh my God, Avi. Where did you get all of that from? Oh my God.
That is what I'm talking about. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know how bad these guys want it, okay, let's take a look at who Spencer Haywood wanted to face during his first round match.
Spencer, did you have a good time?
I had a great time. It was great. I mean, it's surprising, but it was great. And your intro for me was just awesome. But also the intro to the show was like, I was like, wow, you have all of these people. The only two people I want to beat right now is Rick Barry and Eddie Johnson.
They're both in round two.
I'm coming for them in the second round, baby. I'm coming for you.
Pals and pals, industrial-sized air conditioners at your favorite B&B in Alaska would be rendered obsolete after witnessing that intro because we're all fired up. That much is a fact. You've all experienced luminary after luminary after luminary. Enter this virtual arena. Indeed, this tournament is quite stacked. I dub this vision of mine edutainment because I place emphasis on entertainment and education. Because on this station, we celebrate those that are passionate about their vocation. And this format is anything but the same old, so I thank you for embracing the innovation and expressing your constant elation when taking in the most star-studded tournament of them all, a place where competitors convey their level of admiration while we marvel at the information, passion, and also, of course, perspiration when observing this wide array of talent that make up the population of strong-minded thinkers that enlighten us, which is why I subscribe to conversation, because listening and applying is how we get to our destination. We're all so much closer than we are apart, which is why this show offers a demonstration of what's right about us as a society. So for the new viewers out there who have a fascination, sit back and enjoy as I put a cap on this verbal dissertation. Let's keep doing what we do, guys, and realize that our motto isn't a Sherlock Holmes mystery. A legendary director of Superman fame, my mentor, told me years ago, write your own history. Teaching history and screenwriting for the best is one thing, but sharing your history is an honor. That mentor lives in my heart daily. His name was Richard Donner. So let's sit back and realize what we've witnessed here in this tournament oh so grand, where 132 Hall of Famers and Hollywood Award winners and nominees own this land as we discover and rediscover our humanity through open dialogue and expand. So be prepared to give a hand to competitors that are about to work their swiped land, all the while our attention they command. With 15 grand in a 5-day and 5-night first-class trip to Greece for two on the line, one can't forget about the pride and the prize. So with that, let's all rise and reprise our roles as educational voyeurs that never chastise or agonize, but rather revel in our beautiful reality without needing a disguise. Here on this network, we're allergic to lies. The bard Mr. Shakespeare once said, "It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves." So if you love something, then don't hate others that do, because doing is the sweet nectar that is most rewarding. Take a moment to breathe and admire your desire to aspire, because if you don't, life will be but a blur. Of this I'm sure. Never hate the flower for starting out as a seed, because long-distance running is essential. This is not a stampede. So don't run anyone over on your way to the top. Focus on yourself and never forget to cheerlead. Root for your loved ones and lift people up. This human fortune cookie hopes that we've all agreed that positivity is something that we can never concede. Guys and gals and pals, right now, for those of you watching again, Understand what we do. This is round 2. And as you know, this is all things edutainment, where I combine entertainment and education. But guess what, guys and gals? This isn't about me. It's about all of you and the luminaries over here who are educating all of you. So give them a round of applause. They're about to come in here right now. 2 out of 3 will move on to round number 3. We're getting closer to having 1 out of 132 win this entire thing. But there is competitive camaraderie, guys and gals. Competition's not a dirty word. Neither is camaraderie. We combine the two together, and what do we get? We have philosophical fun every time we're here. But, guys, I do see somebody in the back. I want to bring him in right now, guys, because you know what? I see him back there, and he's part of this tournament. He's going to be judging this contest right now, guys and gals. And after him, I'm also going to be bringing in somebody else. Right after I bring in Spencer Haywood, Tom Holland, and Rick Barry, I'm going to be bringing in one of the all-time greats, guys and gals, who wants to simply say hi. But right now, let's bring in our special judge, because it's time. What time is it? It's time to dream lofty dreams, my friends. Frederick Douglass said, "The soul that is within me, no man can degrade." The real voyage of discovery consists not in speaking to the masses who are seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. The true secret of happiness lies in taking a genuine interest in all the details of daily life. And these sentiments all apply to tonight's special judge, because to know him is to see his heart. In a world filled with questions, it's quite comforting to know that there are simple answers when it comes to certain people. For instance, this man's honesty, check. His integrity, check. His word, check. His passion and compassion, check and check. There are no questions when it comes to all the above, because he's a quality human being. His courage is consistent. You can rely on it like a Michael Jordan free throw. His soul is his canvas, which is more beautiful than any Van Gogh. He's in the second round of this star-studded tournament, where he'll be sure to bring the gusto. All of you watching, bring his name up, and rightly so. He's a friend that I appreciate fully, as his class, guys and gals, is something we will always see him bestow. He's sincere and genuine, and can make you laugh like a mid-90s Ray Romano. They know his name around the world, from Glasgow to Monaco to Kosovo to Moscow. Even in the wintertime, his smile can melt the snow. So why don't you all grab a gyro and a glass of Merlot? Maybe that's not a good combo, but regardless, I can tell you that you're all feeling quite gun-ho, as his impact is quite the presence, like Arnold kicking butt in Commando. Who am I bringing in? The mystery will be history. In a second, you'll know. You all might have figured it out. This isn't a whodunit like Hitchcock's Vertigo, so get up and enjoy this ride. Like a Texan in a rodeo. Have you put the pieces together and figured it out like a common game of dominoes? Give into the day, not the gray, as I welcome a man that commands attention like a Green Beret, as he can whisk your worries away. Say hello to WWE Hall of Famer and my big brother. First name Stevie, last name Ray. Welcome, my friend.
What's going on, Avi?
Welcome, 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 Stevie Ray. How are you?
Hey, brother, I'm here, man. But I got something to say, man.
Yes, sir.
When you said like a free throw, like a Michael Jordan free throw, I don't like that. That doesn't apply to me.
I know why.
A Rick Barry.
I know why.
Free throw.
But as the moderator, and I thought about that, but as the moderator, I can't show any bias to Mr. Rick Barry, but he is the free throw king.
No question. Can.
You can.
I can, and I will.
You're the judge. Wait a minute. You're the judge. You can't have any bias tonight, Stevie.
I'm sorry, bro. When it comes to the word free throw, I'm just saying.
When it comes to the word free throw, it's synonymous with Rick Barry. There's no doubt about that.
And I'm
no doubt.
I'm just saying, as far as the free throw, not the show.
Do you know something? Speaking of Rick Barry, do you know that Spencer Haywood in round number 1, again, and same with Rick, we talked about all the people in round number 2, and Spencer can attest to this. We talked about it before we went live. Said, who would you like to face for up to you? Rick Barry. And here they are. Here they are, going to be face-to-face in this celebrity tournament, where, of course, there's competitive camaraderie, but guys and gals and pals who are watching, both of them wore number 24. They're both in the second round. They both can advance to round number 3. Tom Holland's going to have something to say about that. One of the most legendary film directors of all time. Are you looking forward to judging this thing?
Hey, brother, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Spencer Haywood, Rick Barry, Mr. Tom, directing this whole thing. Come on, brother. It's on like a steaming pot of neck bones, man.
I love that. But, Stevie, you're also in this tournament. What happens if in the further rounds you face a Spencer Haywood, or Rick Barry, Tom Holland? Will it matter?
We'll put it like this, man.
Yes.
They say certain sports have gotten soft. You know, you hear that. Even my sport, professional wrestling, they say certain sports have gotten soft. But you know who hasn't gotten soft?
Who's that? Of course.
So if I see any of these guys anywhere near me when I show up, they ain't gonna know what hit them.
Wow.
But That's just competition, baby.
That's competition, and we all love it. We embrace it. It's not a dirty word, but guess what? This is a place where we have dubbed it a sport of the mind. That's what the tournament is, and I don't mind, guys and gals, even though some of you do matter when it comes to this tournament. All of you do who are watching. I don't mind reminding you that at the end of the day, we learn a thing or two, about more than just a thing or two, thanks to these luminaries. Mr. Stevie Ray's one of them. Guys and gals, he is the scholar. If you know him, hey, guess what? No professor, I'll say it live here, no professor, no educator. In my vast array of experience as an educator, no one has taught me as much as this man over here. I'm glad he's tonight's celebrity judge. I'm going to put you backstage for a moment, my friend.
Cool.
Mr. Stevie Ray, Hall of Fame human and Hall of Fame talent. And guys, one of the greatest boxers of all time is here to say hello. And I do see you guys in the back. I'm going to bring him in to say hello to Rick Barry, Spencer Haywood, and Tom Holland, because we're having a nice party over here. That's what it is. And soon we're going to get it on with some great topics, hopefully, guys and gals, that can educate and entertain you as well. Guys, I'm going to bring in our first participant right now, who is a dear friend and was also a dear friend of my mentor, Richard Donner. That's right, my mentor, Richard Donner. Not many wandering this vast landscape know that to see doesn't necessarily require the use of eyeballs to make visible what appears to be invisible. The following guest is that as someone who's blind and comes into a world and suddenly he begins to see like we do, through his heart, through his soul. That's because he's taken a blank canvas and he's filled it with beautiful works of art that go several orders of magnitude deep. Walt Whitman said, "Let your soul stand cool and composed before a million universes." Those words make me think of our next participant, as he epitomizes, guys and gals, that very quote.
A very special, forgetting the fact he was an actor, he was really a special kid, special guy. I loved him. He was a very good friend, a very genuine, honest person, and loved to talk. And he was very bright. And if you really listen, if there's anything adversarial, he'll talk himself out of it. And so between Jay's advice and Marlon's advice and Francis's, I was pretty much prepared for it. But when the time came, he threw me even. He was brilliant. He could really, if he could convince you that his character could be a green suitcase or a bagel, and you would photograph that bagel, he wouldn't have to come to work.
Idea that we pass and that's it and there's nothing more there, I find so horrifying that I'm hoping that there is something on the other side. And I'm not pushing any religion in particular. Maybe it's just, karma and you're passed on or you're reborn or whatever away. And it just stuck in my head because it's Ghost Riders in the Sky, and I had trouble in junior high school. I got called into the dean's office several times. And as I was walking down the high school corridor, I would sing that song to myself to give me courage to face the dean of boys.
I cherish this man and the conversations we have, guys and gals, and I'm going to bring him in right now because, again, he is a fountain of information and one great human being. Our first participant is Hollywood royalty and happens to be a good friend who I appreciate very much for being what I call a restorer. He's restored my faith through his geniuses in incredible films of horror. He grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York, to a father that was a haberdasher, and his mom helped there as well. The markup was higher in women's wear, so his father transitioned there and continued to sell. Before falling in love with Hitchcock's Psycho, he grew up on Hammer Horror and AIP. Do we remember Rod Serling's classic Living Doll starring Telly Savalas? That might have inspired Chucky, but I digress. Psycho inspired and scared him as he realized that film was a series of pieces edited, in this case, that had so much terror. And yet 2 decades later, this legend wrote its sequel, which proved to be anything but an error. Directing his self-defense after Scream for Help came out, this man knew that it's best to keep his scripts in his hands. Even when producers and execs get antsy, he stuck to his guns despite the studio's nervous sweat glands. We all benefited from the fact that it began in Northwestern, a 16mm camera, Milton Katselis, and a film that he obsessively shot forever. Next up was a role on A Time for Us in the Actors Studio, which featured students whose names we'd remember forever. Shelley Winters, Bruce Dern, Jim Bridges, just to name a few. Becoming friends with Rebel Without a Cause's Stuart Stern helped him push through and pursue. It was back to UCLA and a BA in political science and a law degree. Thankfully, his script got optioned around that time, so we were there, guys and gals, to see his script, The View from 30. The Beast Within and Cloak and Dagger. His writing was truthful and a breath of fresh air, but soon thereafter his directorial debut would scare the hair out of the underwear of all of us because this director knew how to prepare for his hot list to storyboards. He showed them all that he thrives in the director's chair. I'm, of course, talking about the classic, iconic, original, innovative Frightnight. With Steve Johnson and Richard Cook, the effects team with Ghostbusters, this film took flight as it was able to excite and ignite endless moments of legend that would need 5 million gigabytes to highlight a film that brings people together, even the cast that always reunites to provide their decade-old fans a chance to whet their appetite. When it pops up on cable, everyone drops the remote to take in this masterpiece. You'll never hear the remote click. Heck, even my mentor Richard Donner turned down The Lost Boys because of this particular vampire flick. Hit after hit came his way, including the legendary Child's Play, which I have to say was a great way to display his patience on a production that didn't always provide an easy work day. So thanks to our participant, a classic was born that is revered in Alaska and even Norway. Hey, the suits walk away with the money, but it's artists like this man that leave a real legacy. As for these rhymes, they're about to be done, so everyone stay calm and rise to your feet and welcome a friend, a legend, and wonderful human being. Last name Holland, first name Tom. Welcome, Tom, to round 2 of the celebrity tournament, my friend.
Hello, Avi. Hello, everybody. Well, I'm thrilled to be here, and I really want to win.
You want to win this whole thing, 15 grand trip for Greece, Tom? I got to tell you, you look relaxed. You look like nothing is phasing you, which is the right mindset, I would say.
I want to see the Parthenon someday.
That would be great. That would be great, Tom. I got to tell you something. You've been around the world. What is it about Greece?
What is it about Greece?
Yeah.
It's the cradle of Western civilization. Our art, I've always, the part, I have never gotten to Athens, so it's.
Really?
Yeah, but I've been reading about it all my life.
Absolutely. Tom, let me ask you a question as well before I bring in Mr. Spencer Haywood. Tom, when it comes to our wacky industry that we're in, of course, you've been in there a lot longer of a time. We know the suits and ties sometimes get in the way, the executives, the suits and ties, the people who somehow don't understand the creative process. Tom, have you ever lost interest and passion in what you do as a filmmaker, a director, and a writer?
No. I mean, I think it's your second question, really, about what would you give to a newborn baby.
Well, no, we'll get to that, Tom. We'll get to that topic. Yeah, we will.
Passion is everything, Avi. You have to find a passion.
Yes, sir.
Then you're doubly blessed if you can make a living at it.
Isn't that true? Isn't that so true, my friend? Absolutely. And hey, again, I'll say this on camera. Our friend Richard Donner revered you, enjoyed your company a ton, and really had so many great things to say. And now here he is looking down at us as we're doing our thing together, Tom.
Yeah, well, he was the one who was responsible for me doing the Tales of the Crypt.
Is he really?
Oh, yeah. It was Richard that who hired me. And he was
Sure.
terribly supportive. I don't know if I ever told you, but he got married, and I used to go in and see him in his office at Warner Brothers, and he'd grab me and pull me into the closet, and he'd cage a cigarette from me. And
I won't say who he kept you from, but he did that with me. There was someone who scared him. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He was hiding from somebody.
But I mean, we'd stand in the closet passing the cigarette back and forth.
Right. Mr. Tom Holland, guys, I'm gonna put you backstage momentarily, my friend, and then we'll start with topic 1.
Okay.
Mr. Tom Holland, guys and gals and pals, I'm gonna bring in our second participant right now, who's one of the most inspirational human beings on the planet. He's helped out so many youngsters who now owe, I think, part of their career to him. Guys and gals and pals, as the obstacles began appearing before him, he became stronger and stronger and stronger. He became stronger externally. He became stronger internally. And his wholehearted and genuine sentiments can inspire anyone. I speak from experience because his purpose is indeed and always quite relevant.
Highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by signs that you win or you fail, be the best of whatever you are. We already have some noble examples of black men and black women who demonstrated to us that human nature cannot be cataloged. They in their own lives have walked through long and desolate nights of oppression, and yet they've risen up and plunged against cloud-filled nights of affliction. I believe as we struggle with these problems, we've got to struggle with them with a method that can be militant, but at the same time does not destroy life or property. And so our slogan must not be burn, baby, burn. It must be build, baby, build.
How to get to the top and how you have to fight to make your way to the top. And once you get to the almost there, you're going to have a lot of people pulling and tugging at you. So it just reminded me of my career, because when I first started, I had to go to the Supreme Court in order to play in the NBA. We have another war going on with Russia and Ukraine. We just need some peace right now. We need some peace and some love and some caring for each other in this world, because, if we keep up this pace, we're going to screw this world up, because most people do have a nuclear weapon, and I would hate to see it come down to that. So
I concur. I like listening to Spencer, guys. He really puts things in perspective, keeps you cool. The man is a great class act, a good friend. And our next participant, guys and gals, the aforementioned Spencer, is a man that's inspired the masses to stand for what is truly right. He was born in Silver City, Mississippi, and through sheer will and courage, his star would always shine bright. He was the 8th of 10 siblings, and he faced the inhumane realities of the Jim Crow South from an early age. Seeing the Freedom Riders coming through town was a calling. It truly set the stage. His mother encouraged him to take a basketball out of a burlap sack. Freedom Riders I have met like Diane Nash. Parents, these are the heroes in our lives that deserve a plaque. And this special human being was more than just a star athlete, as you'll soon find out. He was on a mission, and his work ethic epitomizes the word strength, as his route throughout erased any doubt that he would change the world, something we should all shout. But I digress. In high school, the Pershing Doughboys took home the class, a state title in 1967. One of the greatest teams in Michigan history. Their fans were truly in heaven. The University of Detroit. He set major records across the board. And then came 1968, where he was the very best among his peers. He won a gold medal and held the Olympic points per game scoring average for well over 40 years. How about being the first to be offered a shoe deal with a company called Nike? They offered $100,000 or 10% of the company. And let's remember what this pioneer did with the antitrust lawsuit in 1970, fighting for many players' rights. His win was the most important legal decision in regards to athletes, and his game also soared to new heights. Rookie of the Year, ABA MVP in his sole season there, 5-time All-Star, 2 All-NBA teams, one of the greatest scorers and rebounders in the game. But despite the name, the fame, and the acclaim, he's down to earth and still the same. His vision and tireless work for retired players is one example of how everything he stands is oh so good. So give it up for a kind, positive, intelligent, funny human being. First name, Spencer. Last name, Haywood. Welcome to round 2 of the celebrity tournament, my good friend.
thank you. Thank you very much. Do I sound like Elvis because I'm here in Vegas?
Yes, sir. I like that.
Oh,
you got
right.
a little Elvis thing going on. Man, hey, listen, that was the king on the stage. You were the king on the court, my friend, Spencer Haywood. You know what winning's all about, man. Winning is in your blood. It's in your DNA, but it also is as a result of the work ethic that you put in. You always make sure that, again, you make sure you emphasize work ethic when you speak to the kids, to the youth. You do that all the time. Spencer, my friend, we did this in round number 1. Here we are in round number 2. One's going to emerge to win this entire tournament. It's never been done before. People now are waking up, including those suits and ties that didn't believe in this last year. Now they're all of a sudden my best friends. Funny how that works. But Spencer, 5-day trip to Greece, $15,000 on the line. Are you here to win the entire thing, my friend?
Yes, I'm going to win it. I'm against Tom Holland as well as Rick Barry. Come on, Rick and I have been fighting and playing against each other for at least 15 years in the NBA. Family is just so awesome. I was just with his son, John, in the NBA Cup golf tournament here in Vegas 2 days ago. So
isn't that something?
always,
And it's so great.
We're always together somewhere, or one way or another. But I'm gonna start beating him in pickleball too, so that's not a big deal.
So you're going to beat him here and in pickleball, according to you, Spencer. That's
Yes.
two things you say you're going to. All right, well, hey, Rick Barry and I, we host a show called Hall of Fame Hangout. My good friend, so are you, so are Tom. At the end of the day, I'm happy you guys are here. Greece, 15 grand, a lot on the line, some great topics as well. Spencer, I'm going to put you backstage momentarily and bring Rick in. Appreciate you, my friend. Spencer Haywood, guys and gals and pals. Let's bring in Mr. Rick Barry right now, guys, and get this thing started with topic number 1. Some people hear their own inner voices with great clearness, and they live by what they hear. Such people become successful. But there's a select few that become legendary. The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. Our next participant is a living legend, and his class personified. Through sheer will, effort, relentlessness, and passion, he simply would not be denied.
Conclusion that war is inevitable, that mankind is doomed, that we are gripped by forces we cannot control. We need not accept that view. Our problems are man-made, therefore they can be solved by man, and man can be as big as he wants. No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings. Man's reason and spirit have often solved the seemingly unsolvable, and we believe they can do it again.
The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
But back in the late 40s and the 50s, college basketball was finally starting to get a hold of things. And the epicenter of it all was basically back in New York City. And back then, they had the NCAA tournament, and they also had the NIT tournament, all of the games. This thing blew up so big, I don't think anybody ever realized it. Many top players and teams got involved in this.
Guys and gals and pals. Yes, a man who I'm proud to say I've known for years now, and man who's a man of his word. And guys and gals and pals, I'm about to bring him in. So, dear diary, I speak of the word greatness and revel in its glory. Are we exposed to such greatness through hearsay, fable, or amazing story? Nope. I've seen greatness in the form of man that's already broken every record there is to break. If your goal is to beat him, you might wind up sobbing on Ricky Lake. He's the only player in history to lead the NCAA, ABA, and NBA in scoring. That fact can boggle the mind. What do you expect from someone who commits himself fully to the sweat known as the grind? He's an 8-time NBA All-Star, former All-Star Game MVP, one of the 50 greatest NBA players of all time, an NBA champion, and a broadcasting legend as well. Trying to defend him on the court was like riding a bull on ice in the fiery pits of hell. He was born in Roselle Park, and watching Willie Mays light a spark. The man was a legend, not merely folklore. So much that my guest always wore 24. He played for the University of Miami, and he dominated the hardwood to the sweet tune like an artist winning a Grammy. As a rookie, he improved his team as they racked up nearly 20 more wins than the year before. When he took the floor, he would rebound, pass, and score like no other. Everyone knew, even your mother, that he was one of the all-time greats. If you disagree with me, you might as well be as psycho as Norman Bates. Many fell at his hands as he took his teams to the pinnacle while becoming an all-time great. In 1975, his team was counted out only to sweep their opposition, the champions that year, the Warriors of Golden State. The man has broken records and has excelled in everything that he has pursued. If you stood in his way or told him no, hate to break it to you, but you were screwed. He's a dear friend and co-host Hall of Fame Hangout with yours truly. He knows how to communicate with dignitaries, the public, and even those that are unruly. He's in round 2 of this tournament, and many of you predict that he will win the entire thing. That prediction might stick, so let's welcome a Hall of Fame player and friend. Last name Barry, first name Rick. Welcome to round 2, my friend.
How long does it take you to prepare all of this stuff that you do? I got a couple things to say. First of all, Tom.
Yes, sir.
I didn't watch a lot of your movies because I'm not they scared the hell out of me. I'm not a big fan of those horror movies, but you did a great job. So congratulations on that. Yes. And of course, Spencer, I love Spencer. We're such, good friends, and we're competitors, and I have such great respect and admiration for him. Between the two of us, we really opened up the door for these young players to make the crazy kind of money that they're making these days. So congratulations to you on that, Spencer. And I have to say, hey, to our one of our celebrity judges, not about this and Ty. Thanks for the shout out about the free throws when you said Michael Jordan shooting a free throw. The only thing worse than that, if you just said LeBron shooting a free throw, because at the end of a game, he doesn't make a whole lot of them. And Spencer, listen, we don't know what's going to happen with the tournament. This is out of our hands. It's up to the people who are judges to decide who's going to move on, which is great. The pickleball court. So let's just get that off the table right now.
And you told me off camera you don't want him to beat you here as well. It's not just about Greece, it's the pride. I asked you in round 1, Rick, come on, you've traveled the world, you've seen it all, you've done it all a million times, and you've given back as well. So it's not about going to Greece for the 15 grand. You're one of the first people to say it's the pride of winning it all amongst your peers.
Well, I think any of us who are professionals, especially those in the world of sport, if you're going to step onto a playing field, onto a court, a baseball diamond, a football field, a tennis court, a pickleball, whatever it is, you're not going out there like in pickleball. They said it's social. No, I'm going out there to compete. And if you go out there to compete, you're out there for one reason, and that's to win.
Let's bring in Tom Holland. Let's bring in Spencer Haywood. And guys, I do want to bring him on screen because he's a dear friend and a judge, just so he can meet you guys before he judges. Mr. Stevie Ray right now, guys and gals. This is Spencer Haywood, Tom Holland, and Rick Barry.
Stevie, thanks for that shout out on the free throws, buddy.
What's up, man?
I'm going to tell you one thing. You said you.
Oh man, I have to get out there.
Yeah, but you said if Spencer and you meet us, we got to watch out. Well, listen, if it was a wrestling match, I wouldn't even compete, okay? I wouldn't even step into the wrestling ring with you, okay?
4 great minds here is all I got to say.
I'm going to tell you something, guys.
Stevie Ray. Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Tom Holland, Mr. Spencer Haywood, Mr. Rick Barry. I've watched the movies. Yeah, they're scary. I've watched the movies. Spencer, I grew up watching you and Rick, man, and it's an honor right now to be on screen with you guys, man. I just want all you guys to know that, man, because you guys are the pinnacle of what you did for a living and entertain people like me, man. I loved it. I just want to let you know that. But that don't mean I'm going to take it easy on you if you come up against me, bro. That don't mean that I'm going to eat you like collard greens.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm just letting you know that right now.
Oh, wait, hold on. You're celebrity judge, guys and gals. He's already thinking about competition. I love it. Guys, I want to say but I got to say this to you in all seriousness. We're going to start with topic number 1. I want to say this in all seriousness, though. Again, I want to thank you guys as well. But when it comes to Stevie Ray, and I got to say this again, one of those qualified judges there is. Because when I started this years ago, Rick was with me when I first almost started this thing. Big donut. We started with a donut of views. Now we're 2.5 million views because gentlemen like you are here offering your time. It took me 20 years to work for one of the best studios on God's green earth. And I do that now. And now the suits and ties are saying, hey, we love the show. When's Rick Barry showing up? When's Spencer Haywood showing up? We like the topics. And you know what? It's because of these gentlemen over here that made this show what it is today. And I'm very proud to say that here publicly. Mr. Stevie Ray, I'm going to put you backstage for a moment, my friend, as we delve right into it. Absolutely, guys. These guys definitely have my respect. It's all about respect. Topic number 1. We're going to get into business right now, guys, and rebuttals are optional. If anyone wants to rebut the other person, index finger goes up. I pop in. I make it official. That's optional. Topic number 1. We're going to start off with Mr. Rick Barry for topic number 1. And then, of course, Tom, and then Spencer. This is called Welcome to My History, guys and gals and pals who are listening. If you could invite 2 historical figures to a private screening of any moment in your life that you're proud to showcase, Rick, which 2 historical figures would you invite and why? And which moment in your life would you screen for these 2 guests and why? Take as much time as you want. The floor is yours.
Well, first of all, I have to take a little latitude here because what I'm going to talk about actually relates to 3 of my sons. And so I can't just choose one. It's very difficult for me to do that. And the people that I would have, number 1 would be Jesus. Number 2 would be Rabbi Grossman from Migdal Or over in Israel. And so obviously everybody should know who Jesus is. And
to explain who Rabbi Grossman is, he is probably a male version of Mother Teresa. I'm on the board of the charity over there, and what this man has done to save the lives of so many children from around the world, Jewish children, and bring them over to Migdal Or, and to take them as infants, and to have foster homes for them, and then get them into schools, and then they go on and graduate, and they go on and they, of course, serve in the military there. I got a chance to meet him, and I've met a lot of people in my life, very fortunate in that regard. It's rare that you meet somebody who has an aura. There's an aura about Rabbi Grossman. When you see him, you know there's just something incredibly special about this man. And the way that these kids gravitate him is almost like the Pied Piper. If he were playing his flute going down the street, they would all follow him and go off the cliff. The man is incredible. He's absolutely incredible. And so I have great love and respect and admiration for what he has done. And for somebody to commit himself, they try to have him be the rabbi for the state of Israel on many occasions, and he keeps turning it down because he is so committed to these kids and to Migdal Or and what he's doing there. So those are the two people. And the reason that I would want to have them there and what I would want them to see is to see, because of the gift that they gave me, to be able to watch my children have an experience in their life that was so special to me, and I'm sure to them as well. But in life, I've had so many things happen to me. It's not about you. The most important thing in life is your family. And so if you can see things happen for your children that are really dramatic and really special, you're blessed. That happened to me with all three of them. My oldest son, Scooter, what he went through, and I'm not going to go into a long story about all the things that they had to go through with coaches and the way that they were treated and what have you, and he winds up getting to college with a scholarship, winds up making the winning free throw in the NCAA tournament against Oklahoma. And I was there and had a chance to see him do that. And I would love for both of those men, Jesus and for Rabbi Grossman, because I think they would appreciate me seeing the joy that I had in being able to see two young men, a young man that I brought into this world, to have that experience, to win that, to help win that national championship and be a part of something so incredibly special. I'll never forget that. It was incredible. When I do a presentation and speech, the introductory video that I have is showing me in the stands, giving the fist pump when my son makes the free throw. Of course, it was a free throw, which was good as well. And the second one is for my other son, Brent, and he's number 3 son. For Brent to be able to be there when all that he went through, had a chance to be on the San Antonio Spurs and win the ultimate accomplishment in professional sports, was to win the world championship. And he won that with the San Antonio Spurs. And I was able to be there and share that with him. And then the third thing is my youngest son, Canyon, number 5, who he went through as much or more than the other boys went through, and had the opportunity, because he made the commitment to spend 6 years working so hard, missed out on the Olympics against when Japan was hosting it, which in a way was a blessing because it really wouldn't have been an Olympic experience with COVID going on. And he worked hard, overcome injuries, overcame a lot of things, and helped the United States to qualify for this past Olympics in Paris. And he, along with his teammates, were chosen to be members of the Olympic team to play 3x3. And he played for 6 years, but because of technology, I never saw him play a game in person. I always was watching it streamed because they played all over the world, Mongolia, Saudi Arabia, wherever it may have been. And so I got to go to Paris. I got to be there. I got to see him play. Unfortunately, Jimmer Fredette, one of the top players on their team, got hurt, and they had to play shorthanded, and they didn't get a medal, which was a disappointment. But my son had an amazing day when he set records by scoring 15 of the 21 points in the victory against France in the last 7 points. And then he scored 14 against China with the winning basket. And no player has done that so far in the Olympics in 3x3. So to be there and to witness that, knowing what he had gone through, were things that I'll never forget in my life. All the things that I have accomplished and stuff were great. I certainly have fond memories for those, a lot of bad memories as well. But those 3 things are at the top of the list for me. And to be able to have Jesus and to have Rabbi Grossman there to see, especially in Jesus' part, to give me the life that I had, to be able to have moments like that because of him, and also to see Rabbi Grossman, to see how much I appreciate what was able to happen to me with my children as much as he loves children. So that's it for me.
That's amazing. Is it also part of it because you would want to see the look in your son's eyes when they're looking at these historical figures that mean so much to you, when they're seeing that pride that they have, when they're actually be able to witness something that you already did, really, they could take that in as well. That's inspiration that will never leave their souls, Rick.
Well, the interesting thing is two of the boys, not my youngest one, of course, I was done playing, but my Scooter and Brent also were ball boys for me. Just think about this. I got to go to do what was my job, which wasn't a job, because, you know, I heard, Tom, you say something about a passion. You got to have a passion. I mean, you know, that was my passion. I love doing it. It's not a job when you have a passion, okay?
Sure.
And so I got to bring my kids, all four of my 5 boys, would go take a pregame meal, take a nap, and go to the games with me. And I would take my boys to work, basically, which is kind of crazy. So I was so blessed in so many ways for that. But yeah, and if I knew that I could do that, knew that my son Canyon did get to meet Rabbi Grossman. In fact, just to show you what an impact he had, he met him. He was over there. One other young man who was there with somebody else. I actually brought Dr. J over on that trip.
Oh, wow.
The bar mitzvah. And so my son, with that experience, when he got into school later on and he progressed, he was asked to write an essay about the person that impacted him the most so far in his life. He wrote Rabbi Grossman. That's the kind of impact that man had on my youngest son's life.
The same man who had an impact on you had an equally amount of impact on your son as well. That's pretty impressive.
Very special.
I respect the hell out of that. Guys, I want to bring in Mr. Spencer Haywood now for this second topic, and then Tom Holland will follow. Spencer, my good friend, it is the same question I'll ask you. If you could invite 2 historical figures to a private screening of any moment in your life that you're proud to showcase, which 2 historical figures would you invite and why? And which moment in your life would you screen for these 2 guests and why? Whenever you're ready to go, the floor is yours to go, good sir.
Yes, sir. I must compliment Rick on what a great intro, and what you're talking about is so beautiful. I would invite Nelson Mandela, because he stayed in prison for 27 years, and to come out with no anger, no hate, and against the people who persecuted him, and to bring South Africa together as president of South Africa. It was just an awesome thing to know this man, to meet this man, and to just see how his heart was so at peace. That was one of my great experience. And my next one was Martin Luther King, to see how he fought for civil rights in America, to see just what it took and all of the abuse, the dogs and everything. But again, staying with the peace that Rick was talking about earlier, to stay in that mode, it was just so beautiful. Now, Rick has 5 boys. I got 4 daughters. So we're like the opposite end of everything. So, 43 years ago, I decided to go into recovery from substance abuse. Cocaine was my brand. And my first wife, Iman, who was later married to David Bowie, she got me into seeing a psychologist. And that was a beautiful experience. And I used to bring my daughters to my meetings. And one of my daughters, Shakira, Dr. Shakira, decided that she wanted to be a psychiatrist. And today she's one of the key psychiatrists in the state of New York City, or in the state of New York, and doing very well. We just celebrated my second grandson from her. The first one is Golden. The second one is Royal. I don't know these names, but it's just the way it is in new people. And I'm so proud of my girls. One runs Iman Inc., my oldest daughter, Zuleika, and my next daughter is a professor at Lincoln University in Philadelphia. And Shakira, of course, is a doctor. And my youngest daughter is a trader over at Adidas. I shouldn't say she's a trader, but I was with Nike, so she's over at Adidas in Portland, Oregon. So I'm so proud of my daughters and my grandson. And I do have a granddaughter, and she's just the love of my life. So I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed because I'm on here on this call with Tom Holland and with Rick Barry. Rick Barry has taught me so much. We were on the board of directors with the retired players. I'm back now, and Rick was my big supporter to make sure that I was doing things right as chairman. We were able to get the NBA players, the former players, the health insurance that they enjoy today because of a behind the scenes fight that we approached the young players, and Chris Paul and LeBron James, Steph Curry, and all of them said, we need to give these guys the health insurance that we have. So today we are healthy because of it. And our next job, Rick, is to make sure they increase our pension, and also because they just got this big, huge contract. So that's great. And Tom, yes, I did watch your movies because my girls love horror movies. So I was in the mix. And I always told them, if you do bad, Chuck is going to come get you. Thank you.
Give it up to Chucky, guys and gals. Mr. Spencer Haywood, I gotta say, and hey, at the end of the day, you brought something up that's so interesting because giving it back, you and Rick, pioneers of the game. Tom Holland, a pioneer when it comes to film, television, writing as well. I have to say this to Spencer. I think we lost him for a moment, so when we get him back, I want to address this. Tom, before I kick it over to you as well, I do have to let our audience know that this is, again, round 2 of the TKN Celebrity Tournament. Please make sure you are subscribing because we are already at 70,000 subscribers in just 10 months on YouTube. We appreciate that. We appreciate your support. Guys and gals and pals, remember, if you can as well, to stay tuned every Saturday night. On average, 3 different luminaries appearing live. Where else are you going to get that? You're going to get it over here where we talk about topics that matter. Spencer, you brought up Martin Luther King. You brought up Nelson Mandela. Can you hear me, Spencer? I think we might have some audio. Spencer, can you hear us? Mr. Haywood, can you hear us? Well, Rick, I'm going to ask you a question, my friend. If you can unmute for a second, Rick. Appreciate that. There we go. There are so many untold stories of the NBA. There are so many. For instance, there's the untold story of how the Minneapolis Lakers almost died unless they found that cornfield that was covered in snow in the late 50s when they were still playing out of Minneapolis. But there's also a very little-known story about the Players Union in an all-star break in the locker room, essentially holding up the commissioner back then. I believe it's before Walter Kennedy. I think actually it was Podoloff. It might have been Maurice Podoloff. They were holding him up because they, of course, were about to form the union. They felt like they weren't getting their just due. There are so many stories that probably should get told, maybe in a very, very entertaining fashion by some of the studio systems like the ones I work for. Do you think that would help the youngsters in the game today appreciate their forefathers, much like yourself and Spencer, who pioneered this game and elevated it the way that you guys did?
Doesn't seem like it would, because they don't seem to appreciate it. Not very many of them do. They've been spoiled since they were young people, and it's just gotten a little bit out of hand. And we have great respect and appreciation for those players who do speak about the people who came before them, who laid the groundwork for them to be able to have the amazing lives that they have. So I think in life, you don't want necessarily, for me, I don't care about something myself. You just want to feel that the people appreciate what it is that you did. And I don't know if that many of them, sorry to hold you up. It was a situation that I was Curt Flood before Curt Flood. Everybody talks about Curt Flood in baseball with the reserve clause. Basketball had the exact same clause when I came out in 1965, which means you signed that contract and you play. And the next year they offer you a contract. If you don't like the contract and you can't come to an agreement with them, you are obligated to play the next season at 90% of what you played for the year before. And so basically that's a contract in perpetuity. And by my challenging that, I know I'm very upset with the Warriors, because the Warriors took the position, well, no, we have the option for your service. But what happened is it turned out to be an option that you now had the freedom to be able to move and go on and play someplace else. And then, of course, Spencer then came along with the opportunity to come in with underage. So unless it was something agreed upon by the union and the league, you had the right to come out early and not have to wait. Because when I finished playing, it was 4 years after your high school graduation year. You were then eligible to be drafted by the NBA. Spencer, when he came in, changed that because of what he did. And between the two of us, we really opened up the floodgates for these players to have the freedom that they have today.
Thank you for sharing that with our viewers. I want our young viewers and even the young execs and the young everything out there that seemingly right now don't have a respect or understanding of history can hear that from Rick Barry and Spencer Haywood. And right now, guys and gals and pals, I'm going to transition over to Mr. Tom Holland. And, you know, I brought up this topic. One of you asked me off screen, told me that you like this topic. Where do they come up with it? It's because one day, I remember telling my history students of a former president that was also quite the philosopher, and that was our second president, Samuel Adams. He was a man of fierce independence. He was a member of Continental Congress. He designed the framework of functional Republican constitutions. But he was once asked if he would like to relive any memory from his lifetime, what would it be? And his response was, if I can share it with others whom I respect greatly, the memory itself doesn't matter. And I do concur. Mr. Tom Holland, if you can invite two historical figures to a private screening of any moment in your life that you're proud of, which two historical figures would you invite and why? And which moments in your life would you screen for these two guests and why? Whenever you're ready to go, good sir.
Oh boy, well first I want to say, Rick and Spencer, I stand in awe of your career and, you know, and how you spent your life and growing, listening to you talk about the development of basketball. It's a lifetime. And a lot of it resonates, Rick, because we're around the same age, you know. So yeah, so I mean, and you guys, I assume that you became, you were athletic at the time you were in grade school, probably. You know, you probably your prime and you was in high school or whatever. I was somebody who was in love with movies and reading, and I worked somehow. I come from a small town, a farm town in Hudson Valley, Mid-State, New York, and you guys spent the first 20 years of your life working and winning and everything, and I spent the first 20 years of my life trying to get into Hollywood. You know, I mean, I was like, before I started making something that was reasonable, that was a reasonable income from my passion. And like I said earlier, the second question really, finding your passion really is, that's the gift in life, and both of you did. Because but I spent 3 years, and then I became a active writer, and then I became a writer-director. That took me until I was early 40s before I could start to really, back up something. But in that time, I learned a huge amount about making movies, because I've been acting in them and I've been working on production and everything. And what really made my career was a sequel to Psycho. It's called Psycho 2. And it was an enormous hit in summer of 1980 worldwide. And I've always thought it would be fascinating if I could get together in the same room with Alfred Hitchcock and Robert Bloch, who wrote the original Psycho novel, and Joe Stefano, who wrote the screenplay to Psycho, and show them Psycho 2 and see if I could see what they thought of it and of the Psycho series that it spawned. But that's a million years away from what you guys did in basketball and in sports and developing an industry. But what happened to me was it's the horror was the entry level. They were the entry level work in Hollywood back then, and it's the old saying: be careful what you succeed at, because in Hollywood, that's what you'll be typed. And the Beast Within was the first one, and then I got Psycho 2, huge hit, and I did Cloak and Dagger and Class of '84, and then turned around and wrote and directed Frightnight. And that changed my life when I was 43 or 44 years old. So it's a very, very different experience. But I'd love to know what those masters, what Hitchcock would have to say about all of it, because that's the beginning of horror. Psycho was the first slasher movie. Before that, nobody had ever seen that level of violence. The graphic violence on the screen. Of course, you didn't see anything. The knife and never entered Janet Leigh's body. But because of the montage, it seemed like it did. And that was the first time I realized that the true film is visual and was made up of bits and pieces of film put together. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I was 13 years old when I saw Psycho. And that's when I realized I was looking at an art form. And as the other thing is, Rick, I'm playing tennis. I'm still getting out of the tennis court. Yes, I haven't gotten to pickleball yet, but I'm only like a step away. And pickleball crazy out here. Anyway, so that's sort of where I am and what I like.
Hey, Tom, let me ask you, Tom, if you were to invite the two people that you admire most, who were those two people?
John Ford and Alfred Hitchcock.
Hello.
The two greatest American directors.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember you were telling me that Hitchcock was someone, of course, who inspired you through his work. There was there was no doubt that, young filmmakers today that pick up a phone. Isn't that weird that we're in 2024, almost 2025? You could pick up a phone and make a movie. If you would have told a Tom Holland that in pick a year, how would you have reacted to that, Tom?
Well, I can tell you when it was. It was 1961. It was the Cuban Missile Crisis. I was a freshman at the Northwestern Theater School, and I went out and I shot my first 16mm film. And it was a total mess. But I mean, financially getting together, even being able to do that, which was hundreds of dollars, was very difficult back in 1961.
And 16mm was so grainy. The quality was so grainy. It's not 35mm like they shot in Hollywood, which was slick and polished, of course, and very expensive.
I was just trying to learn how to edit a film, how to put pieces of film together in an exciting manner.
Right. But you know what, though? That's part of the that's part of paying your dues. It really is. And you brought up how this happened during the Cuban Missile Crisis. There's so much world going around you, right? We're talking about how World War III is imminent. October 62. We have the USSR, Khrushchev, Kennedy. They're back channeling with one another through the Pope. The Pope was actually trying to make peace through Kennedy and Khrushchev. But there was one unsung hero that was literally the person who saved our entire planet. It was an unsung hero. It was an officer, a gentleman who was on the boat with, of course, Khrushchev's soldiers and top-ranking lieutenants, who was the one who decided to turn back. It was one person who actually saved our planet, potentially. And the reason why I bring this up is because while World War III is imminent, and while Camelot is burning, and Kennedy's advisors, even Robert, his brother, are saying, proceed forward. And McNamara is saying, proceed forward. And of course, there's this Red Scare that's going to come down Southeast Asia, and we're going to have to stop communism as a result. And Ho Chi Minh. All this is going down. And Tom, you're transfixed with your passion. You're transfixed. You're enamored with what you're doing. Rick, during this time, again, we're talking about, if not mistaken, playing for Miami. Playing for the University of Miami around this time, 62 or so. And Spencer Haywood, guys and gals, who's coming up, one of the greatest high school and college basketball players of all time. He knew his dream. And that's what I find fascinating. When there's so much world happening, you guys are still immersed in your world. That sums it up. Tom?
In 1963, I was 20 years old. I was under a 7-year contract for Warner Brothers. I had to go to court to sign it because I was underage. And JFK was assassinated.
Incredible. The dividing line, November of 63. Yeah. And you want to know something interesting?
Who was that general? I mean, who was the person that saved?
Chairovsky. Dmitry Chairovsky is the man who saved our planet.
Oh, wow.
He saved us. He went against orders. because it was a stalemate. As you guys know, there was a stalemate, and people, of course, are buying these underground makeshift cubicles just because they think that they're gonna have to probably sit down there in some subterranean domain for 20 years because atomic bombs are gonna be dropped left and right, and this happened because of one guy, one person, and of course he was blackballed as a result. Completely dismissed.
This is why Rick, Tom, Ari, that I love coming on this show with you, because it's always history, like the history that Rick is talking about, the history that Tom is talking about. You get so much out of this. And I am like a student. I'm just sitting here listening and learning. My gosh.
But I was well aware of it because we were worried because of the Russians coming down to Cuba. I was so close to that.
Nobody heard about it. And you were in Miami, though, but nobody heard about this guy.
In Miami, yeah.
If it wasn't for those soccer fields, because we all know this, the Soviets play soccer and the Cubans don't. That's how we knew that something was going on. All these makeshift soccer fields were being built in Cuba, which made no sense to us, which made us realize that they were hiding some of their weapons and artillery over there in our backyard. That's how we found out that they were hiding so much there as well. So it's so interesting how life was lifing when you guys were doing what you were doing, but still there was such a keen awareness that you guys had to the world around you. Not to sound on a soapbox, not to sound grumpy. I'm not as young as I look, but I'll tell you, the kids today don't necessarily care. I had Diane Nash, who was a freedom writer, who's a dear friend who's still alive, one of the original freedom writers, Rick and Spencer knows and Tom. She spoke at my school. After she spoke for 45 minutes, my assistant principal walked in the room, listened for 20 minutes, and had the gall and the audacity to ask me, who is she? Who is she? Okay, innocent enough. Innocent enough. I explained to her who she was. You know what her response was? Sometimes you get the most out of a response that's so vague in general. 2 letters, 1 word, 1 syllable. Her response was, oh, and she walked around. No handshake, no respect, nothing. So that means our teachers now, come on, Rick and Tom, I mean, Spencer, they're our next generation. And you know what, Rick? Here's the thing. I challenge you, and I challenge Tom, and I challenge Spencer. As much as, we know each other well, Rick, and we're friends, I challenge you to always be able to never give up hope on the youngsters of today, because I think it's how they're being taught. I think they want to learn, right, Tom? They want to be educated.
Knowing what we are going through with the NBA today, in terms of our audience has dropped off down to what, 35? We're less than 35% of the audience now. What do you think about this shooting of the 3-point shot, no creativity? I mean, when we played, we had to get in the air, we had to create, we had to do things. Everybody's playing so robotic. Is that the problem? Why the audience is not catching on to NBA basketball as they did in the past? Or is it just that soft, or what? Tell me.
I wouldn't say they were robotic. These guys are such amazing athletes. It's absolutely incredible. The things that they're able to do. I just think it's a matter of the coaches deciding how they want to play. The redeeming thing about the NBA, if you really are a true fan, is that the only teams that win are the teams that play it the right way. The teams that play unselfishly, that make a commitment to defense and play both ends of the court. And so as long as they have that, that's going to be a good thing. And they have to do a better job with their marketing. And they've had a lot of issues and stuff with the way some of these young people themselves and screwing around with guns and all kinds of other stuff. That doesn't help at all either. And there's so many other things out there to take the attention away for outside activities. I mean, come on. I mean, anything you want in the world is available on the internet now. It's kind of crazy. In the old days, there wasn't all that much. So the NBA, who was always a leader in their marketing, they were always a great product, but they didn't do it back when I played. Hell, our finals in '75 were on delayed television, a major sport in the United States. The Warriors were worth $18 million, and a friend of mine wanted to buy them. I said, "What, are you crazy? They're worth $8 billion now because of the marketing." But now they're running through a tough period. Everybody, life is this. You're up and down. They're in a down period now, and they got to figure out a way to get out of it.
Absolutely.
So what about the dress? What about the dress code, Rick? I mean, could we just have 2 weeks of guys dressed in a suit?
No,
we did for a while ago. We did when David Stern was around.
Absolutely not. There is no way that I want to put a coat and tie on to go play a basketball game before I go.
And Rick, you're killing me here.
Dance in the world. No, thank
well, you know what? Basketball etiquette aside, Rick brought up a good point. Till 83, games were on tape delay. It wasn't until the Magic Bird 1984 finals where it was finally broadcast live. Every game was broadcast live. We missed some gems. 81, Philadelphia and Boston had this great 7-game series that might be the greatest series of all time. A year earlier, Milwaukee and Seattle had this amazing series that might have been the greatest of all time, but you missed 4 games. They're lost to history. We'll never find out how great those games were, only if you read Athlon or Sports Illustrated. I want to bring in Mr. Stevie Ray and see who he votes for and why for this first topic.
Wow, man. Boy, that was amazing listening to all you guys, man. And Rick, I would like to ask you something, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You were in Miami in the early 60s?
61, 65. I went to college there.
Okay.
Got to meet Muhammad Ali, who used to come to our games.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He was Cassius Clay back then.
Yeah, he trained in Miami a whole lot. Yeah. Are you familiar with Operation Northwoods?
No, never heard of that.
That was going on all around you and probably on your campus.
Don't answer.
No, don't never heard of that.
Yeah. You know, you guys had gotten into that Cuban Missile Crisis thing and all that stuff. And man, all of that stuff was going on all around you. But be that as it may, listen to all you guys' compelling stories. And you, Rick and Spencer, you guys kind of resonated with me of all the things you've done for the NBA, trying to bring things up to speed as far as pensions, as far as how you guys always relate to, hey, you set the standard of trying to get these young guys paid, so on and so forth. You know, some of that I knew about, but not to the level of what you guys talked about. And Mr. Holland, when it comes to learning the movie business, brother, that had to be super tough back in those days, man, learning how to edit and stuff like that. And it's really you kind of self-trained yourself, self-taught. Is that true?
Well, is that what ask me the question again, Steve? You're asking me about Chucky or are you asking about Frightnight?
No. I was asking you about when you said you were 20 years old and you were teaching yourself how to edit and do movies.
Yeah, I was trying back then when I was a kid before anybody else did it. Now everybody's doing it because, as Avi said, it doesn't cost you anything to pick up your iPhone. And you can download editing programs, for next to nothing on the web. It's all changed. But at the same time, you're complaining about a downward pull in men's basketball. Women's basketball is exploding. That's the Clark girl, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But movies have run into the digitization buzzsaw at the same time, and feature films have been falling off the last 2 or 3 years, even though they're having a very good Christmas season. At the same time, there are now streaming television shows that are better than they've ever been. I mean, television is better than movies right now, at least on the middle and the lower end. They can't compete with $300 million blockbusters, but they're two businesses. You got basketball and you got entertainment that are both in flux with the economy. Right.
Well, guys, I would have, like I said, all those stories are very compelling to me, man. But as a fan, I kind of relate to what Spencer and Rick were talking about as a fan and a judge, because I can really relate to that as to where that has come from where that vision has come from, full circle from the 60s to today. And I can see that evolution because I kind of feel that evolution. And I feel that same evolution as it pertains to movies. A lot of people don't know. I'm a big movie guy, and so is Avi. And I do another show called Black and White where we talk about movies and stuff like that. And as far as movies go, when you're talking about scary movies, one of my favorite movies of all time is The Thing, 1982.
Oh
yeah.
John Carpenter. John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Kurt
Yeah,
Russell.
man.
What was that?
You can go back and look at the original.
Well, that's what I'm a fan of the original. So when the one in the 80s came out, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a remake of when I was a little kid.
And if you ever read the novel Who Goes There, that's the actual adaptation that Carpenter took from to make the 82 film. Yeah.
Right.
James Arnett played the monster in the first film.
Yeah, Mr. Gunsmoke himself.
That's
when
right.
I learned that years ago, it was a little bit more compelling to me. So, man, I just, man, like I said, I'm just honored to be on the show with you guys. But for that first segment, I would have to take Spencer and Rick, but I do relate to Mr. Holland also, man. So, man, I can only pick two. So
you got to pick one though, Stevie.
We just gonna get down to one. I would have to say Rick.
Okay. Rick Barry gets
because I can relate to how he feels and what he says about his kids, man. And man, that's a feeling like no other. I can relate to that, but man, I would have to say Rick.
Guys and gals and pals, the reason why my hair is in place right now and I'm not sweating is I'm not judging. I don't envy Stevie Ray for judging this thing because I wouldn't know where to go. I wouldn't know where to go, Stevie. I'm just telling you.
I'm just one judge. I mean, I'm sorry. I like them all, man.
I know. I don't envy you.
I can relate to them all, brother. I mean.
But you see, that's why this is a sport of the mind. Nobody's ever said, how do you actually judge between storytelling? It's whoever resonates most with you. And that's why our viewers are lucky. They're not voting and saying, we're voting for you because you're better. There's no better. Who resonates most with you? That's what it's all about. Right. Guys, Spencer Haywood, Tom Holland, Rick Barry, Stevie Ray, they epitomize what this is.
I didn't know Rick was in Miami. I didn't know Rick was in Miami at that time. As you guys are talking about the JFK incident and the Cuban Missile Crisis, Rick didn't even realize this whole thing is going on right around his backyard.
Yeah.
50 miles away.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Operation Northwoods was conducted in the Miami area.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I didn't know about that part of it, but I knew what was happening over there, and I can relate with the community. I remember.
And by the way, if you guys ever watch a documentary, watch one called The Fog of War with Robert McNamara. On his deathbed, he admits to a lot of the lies that were spread during Camelot, of course, during that first term of Kennedy's. He didn't make it to 64. A lot of people said he would pull down Vietnam. It didn't look like he would. He was running on that ticket in 64. He told everyone he was going to train the South Vietnamese, the ARVN. But I don't think he would have. I think there was too much on the line. That's what it looks like back then, guys and gals. So, hey, Stevie Ray, Spencer Haywood, Rick Barry, Tom, this is our final topic. We're going to find out which 2 out of 3 move on to the prestigious third round of this tournament. Our second and final topic, we're going to rotate this thing out right now. Spencer's going to start with our first, be the first person speaking regarding our final topic of the evening. It is all about giving advice, but not just advice. Advice to those that listen, not us wacky adults. We don't listen. We're talking about infants, newborns, babies. Yes, that is the final topic, guys and gals. If you could instill one piece of advice in a newborn baby's mind, what advice would you give and why? If you could instill one piece of advice in a newborn baby's mind, Spencer, what advice would you give and why? I think we lost Spencer. I'm gonna kick it over.
Let me try to bring back. Oh,
that's okay. That's okay.
I'm back.
We got you, Mr. Haywood.
Yes.
Spencer, the floor is yours with this topic whenever you're ready to go. Good, sir.
I would, to my grandson, who was just born 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks now, I would give him advice that, get a firm education because his mother's a doctor, and so, he would have to have that education. But also, I would put a basketball in his hand and say, hey, man, work at this. You will be able to get an education. You will be able to perhaps go into the NBA, Rick, where the normal salary maybe in 18 years would be $110 million a year. So please, bring it home. Bring home the bacon.
I love that. There you go. Some advice there. Guys and gals, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Rick Barry right now.
Well, I think everybody would agree that we're all products of our environment. So, what's happening in your home has a big impact on what your future is going to be. I was very fortunate to have a mom and dad, and my father instilled in me something that I tried to instill in every one of my children as well. And I think the one thing that is so critical that I've found in life, and I try to instill this in young people and I talk to them all the time, and I agree with what was said before with Tom, getting a passion. Of course, that's a critical element. But the one thing would be take pride in everything that you do and always give your best effort. Now, along with that, you can't be afraid to fail. People are afraid to fail. But if you give your best effort, you can be a person that can live with yourself, because you can sleep at night knowing, well, I gave my best effort. It might not have worked. It may not have worked, but it's okay. It's okay to fail. Intelligent people learn by the mistakes that they make, but whether it's in the classroom, on the basketball court, the wrestling arena, wherever you happen to be, everything that you do in life, you must give your best effort. You'll be a happier person for it. And if you're not afraid to fail, you'll become a better person for it.
Wow. Deep, Rick.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Again, great advice from Rick Barry. Guys, Tom Holland right now is going to give us his advice. What advice would he give to a newborn baby? If he could instill one piece of advice in a newborn baby's mind, what advice would he give and why? Tom, the floor is yours.
Well, find your passion. I mean, everybody else here, because you were physically oriented, you discovered your passion very early. But a lot of people takes them through their teens and into their 20s. But if you can find something that you're passionate about, it will give you a life and a lifetime, a way to spend your lifetime. And then I said, if you're doubly blessed, and you can also make a living from it, then you really got something going in this life. I mean, I know all too many people who work for the salary, and I think that it's just so much better if you're really fired up about it. Feel like you guys do about basketball, or I do about making movies. That's a wonderful gift, and I tell every young person to find it and to pursue it.
I love that. I love that you said that. I would concur. It seems like across the board, giving advice to the youth to work hard. It is important to work hard. I bust my ass to do what I do over here.
Yeah.
I bust my ass to do what I do over here.
Yeah.
I bust my ass, whether it's a Tom Holland, Rick Barry, Spencer Haywood, Stevie Ray, or a viewer that's on the show, because we're all united, we're all together, we're all people. I'm going to celebrate you guys for what you stand for, not just your accomplishments or your resumes. I'm going to do this with video packages. I'm going to do this with a little flair and pomp and circumstance, but a lot of substance, because I want people to be able to say that they too can do what a Rick Barry, a Spencer Haywood, Tom Holland, Stevie Ray did through some hard work. They may not be 6'7". They may not have the savvy and experience of a Tom Holland, but you know what? They could do it. They could go for it. And guys, you're hearing it from these men. You notice the one word that interweaves them together is work ethic. Did you notice that? They never said we were the most talented athletes that God's green earth ever produced. They worked hard at what they loved. That's what it's all about, guys and gals. And I work hard at doing this show, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, because I want to make sure we spread some good out to the world. So thank you, guys and gals and pals. Right now, we're going to find out. Stevie Ray, pressure's on again. My friend, who do you vote for and why, good sir?
Hey, man. Good advice from everybody. Great advice from everybody. But I kind of resonated with what Mr. Holland said. I kind of resonated with that. Find your passion. You know why? People used to ask me about my daughter. Hey, man, your daughter going to be an athlete? You push her toward athletics and stuff like that. Do you know something? I never did. I didn't want to be like me, man. And, I needed athletics just to get out of my neighborhood. I needed football. I needed basketball. Rick don't know, but brother, hey, I could play at one time, Rick. I could play. I thought I was Spencer out there. I thought I was Spencer on the court at one time, but I was better at football than basketball. So, but with all that being said, that's what I told my daughter. I only have one child, and that's what I told her. Baby, it ain't about what I do. It's about what you want to do. find what you want to do. You know what it was? Acting. Acting. That was her passion. That's even though she played sports, acting was her passion. So I can resonate with that. So Mr. Holland, I have to give it to him.
Mr. Holland gets the vote from Stevie Ray. Appreciate that, my friend. Guys and gals and pals, Steve, I'm going to kick it to you in one more moment, my friend. I'm going to put you backstage. Anything you'd like to tell Rick Barry, Tom Holland, Spencer Haywood as we depart?
Man, thank God for movies like them. This is what I want to ask Tom Holland. Somebody was just telling me the other day about I can't remember who it was, that they met you and they didn't know you were the Spider-Man guy. I can't remember who it was. It's like maybe a week or two ago. And somebody was telling me, oh man, that's the Spider-Man guy. You know, and I was like, I didn't realize. And I'm like, I looked it up and I'm like, wow, that is the Spider-Man. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I was the first Spider-Man guy. I didn't follow the second Spider-Mans like I followed the first ones.
Can I say something, Stevie?
And I just wanted to, yeah.
Much to the Tom Holland who plays Spider-Man's chagrin, he'll never be our Tom Holland. They share the same name.
That's not the same guy?
No, but they share the same name.
I'm sorry, Tom. Because I was like, wait a minute. This guy does Chucky movies. He doesn't do the Spider-Man movies. So I guess I was confused on that. I'm sorry, man, but I thought it was the same guy because somebody was telling me this. So I knew about the Chucky stuff, but I didn't know about. I was like, wow, it's kind of recent, but be the other me. But
Stevie Ray, before you head down, it's flooding down in Texas. Who is that, sir? That's Stevie Ray Vaughan. So I'm just throwing
Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I love that.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Hey, Spencer, you got to admit something, Spencer. Hey, listen, Spider-Man may have the web slingers. Tom Holland, our Tom Holland's got Chucky. He's got Chucky with him.
But remember, we did a deal with Chucky.
You did,
with
yes.
Scott, with Rick Steiner.
1998.
Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we did a deal. So he worked. I didn't, at that
indirectly, you work with Tom Holland. Indirectly.
Exactly.
That's, that's interesting.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
One of the with the Chucky thing, and it was so funny. It was so funny. But anyway, going back to what Rick, Spencer, and Tom was talking about, I actually kind of resonate with Tom.
Right.
On that subject.
Absolutely.
Find your passion, bro. Find it.
I hope that Stevie gets to know Spencer. Rick.
You said you can always say put. I mentioned the thing. Passion is great, but if you don't,
Rick, you muted your microphone, my friend. I can't hear you.
You muted your mic, Rick.
Rick, the microphone's muted.
All right. Well,
there you go.
Good.
Nope.
I had mentioned to him. Mentioned the word passion, and I agree 100%. But the thing is, if you don't take pride in everything that you do and put the effort forth, you'll never find your passion.
Without question. And you know what else? Don't be like everybody else. I don't want to be like everybody else. Wouldn't you guys agree? This isn't a podcast. This isn't a regular, hey, you're talking to some guy who's got some interview list asking you the same old questions over and over again. I don't really care. I know that you guys are legends. I don't care what it was like to play against somebody in 1977 and what color sneakers they wore. That doesn't interest me. I want to know what Rick Barry and Spencer Haywood and Tom Holland, Stevie Ray think about culture, their children, history, their family. That's what I want to care about. That's what could bring us all together. That's what this show is all about. Stevie Ray, my friend, you are a legend and a great, great human being. I want to put you in the backstage 1 second, my friend. Mr. Stevie Ray, guys. Don't forget the Mr. And guys, Mr. Tom Holland, before I bid you adieu, I do have something for you, Tom. I hope you enjoy this video, and then one for Rick and one for Spencer. It's kind of like a quick 60-second little tribute video that I put together personally. Guys and gals and pals, this is a thank you video for me to Tom Holland. That's Bruce Lee right there in the far right, choreographed that fight.
Thank you, Avi. Thank you. That was lovely of you, Avi. Thank you.
Anytime, my friend. You deserve it. You have a great rest of your evening.
I hope people understand how much time and effort it takes to put something like that together.
A lot. Thank you. Talent, too.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, it's been lovely meeting you. Spencer, lovely meeting you. You're both great guys. You're enormously likable. That's amazing.
Hey, for a guy that's trying to scare the shit out of everybody, you're a nice guy too.
You're a nice guy too.
I succeed at it a lot of times.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I did see Chucky. I did see Chucky too. I did watch that movie.
God bless.
You too, Tom.
That's for me. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Tom. Tom Holland, guys and gals. And again, I just want to give it up to you guys. You deserve this because you've given back a lot as well. This is for Mr. Rick Barry. From me to you, Rick. Yes, you are, whether you want to hear it or not. Bob Neal. College days. 75. About family's what it's all about.
Yes, indeed. Lynn.
Al Addles.
Yeah.
Jerry West. Ralph Sampson. Spencer Haywood. Late Bill Walton. Oh, there's the trip you told me about that you took. You told me that a year ago. I remember.
Fred Shuey, my partner, men's doubles, winning the titles. Oh.
I remember you told me about a year and a half ago you took that trip. Yeah. Incredible. There he is.
Oh, wow.
Got a shot of Stevie and Muhammad Ali I want to show you guys later. Billy Crystal.
He was the engine.
Yeah. Oakland Oaks. Trading cards. Coach. Broadcasting legend. Friend. Tonight Show. Jerry Lewis.
Look at that flat top.
I think
hey, man, you know, we cut through the bullshit over here, man. You're a real good friend, and I've learned a lot from you, and I respect you a ton, Rick.
Well, I appreciate it. It was very kind of you to put that together. Brought out some good memories.
Absolutely. My friend, I will see you soon for Hall of Fame Hangout, and maybe next round of this tournament as well.
Take care. God bless.
The great Rick Barry, guys and gals. Great human being. Man, Spencer, I want to play you yours as well because you deserve this, and I want to tell you, did you have a nice time tonight?
I had a wonderful time. I mean, this was very informative. I love this show. I really love this. This is educational. This is everything that I was thinking that it was going to be, but more. So I love
thank you.
Yeah.
You bring so much to it, my friend, so I hope you do enjoy this. Yes, you do. The late Dikembe.
Yeah.
Mr. Riley.
Yes, sir.
Love that shot.
DJ and Jazz.
Yes, sir. And God rest her soul, your mom. What it's all about.
Kobe. God rest his soul.
Rest his soul. Kareem and Bill Walton.
Yes, sir. Adam. Jordan.
Family right there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
John McLendon.
Wow. That's
wow.
Moses Malone, Stevie's good friend.
Moses Malone, yeah. Charlie Barkley.
Yeah.
My daughter, oldest daughter, she
God bless him.
My wife.
Hey man, I know this sounds sappy, but I'd rather be sappy than cynical. Your presence is a present, man. Really, you make people better around you, not only on the court, and it's come from the heart. There's no script here. You make people better around you, and I could see that, and I can't wait one day to shake your hand and give you the ultimate respect by shaking your hand.
Thank you.
Wow, Greenies. What an amazing night here on the Green Room. Make sure you stay with us, all right? Towards the end, we're going to have an outro video that's going to let you know who's going to be joining us and competing next week. You're not going to want to miss it. As far as topic one, I mean, everybody touched me in a different way. Rick Barry. Amazing. And I'm not just saying that because you're over my shoulder here. It was just an amazing thing. And the tribute love that you talked about for your children, it was very touching. And the two people that you picked, Jesus and Rabbi Grossman. I personally, I'm going to do a little research on Rabbi Grossman. Thank you so much for bringing his presence into the fold. And just an amazing response to that question. Mr. Spencer Haywood, oh my gosh, Mandela and Martin Luther King. That was absolutely phenomenal in every way, shape, and form. And the way that you spoke of your recovery, as well as helping those in the NBA with the health insurance. That was something special and amazing. Tom Holland. What an amazing concept to think. The two people that you picked, actually, they spearheaded and came up with a concept that later you picked up the ball and you ran with. I feel that's absolutely fascinating in every shape and form because you're bringing them back and you want them to experience that with you just to know what they thought of your work. And your work obviously was just great, and it was a blockbuster of a movie. So for that reason, I have to give my vote to Tom Holland for speaking of bringing Alfred Hitchcock and John Ford into the fold to look at his work and to see what he did moving forward with the Psyhco series. Just absolutely amazing. And Larry, I'd like to know what you think about all this. Come on in and let us know what you think about the match this evening.
Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it. The match itself was amazing. I mean, all three of these guys, the stories, the history that they have, and while I'm talking about this, go ahead and vote, get that in, because you guys are the ones that decide who gets to move on. And hello, Eric. Hello, everyone. And I'm going to go the opposite direction as Jamie and start with Tom Holland, the gentleman that he chose, basically kind of the fathers of the horror movies. And like he said, to pick up on where they left off and to have them see what they inspired him to do. I love it. And then with Spencer Haywood, can you really go wrong with Martin Luther King? And then also Nelson Mandela. The thing that hit me was him talking about the peace that they have with everything that they went through, but they still weren't angry. They came out, they were passionate, but just incredible. And then you have Rick Barry that's talking about Jesus and Rabbi. I need to look up the Rabbi. I'm not familiar with that. I'm definitely going to do that. And wanting to take him to the different events of his family. That spoke to me the most, to be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and vote, and I'm going to vote for Rick Barry. I encourage you all to go ahead and vote now and hang out until the outro afterward. And we have one more vote coming up as well. And Howard, what did you think of all of this evening?
Two words, Larry. I always like using puro fuego, pure fire. What those three gentlemen were able to put forth when they opened their hearts and they opened their minds was amazing. But before I go and give you my vote, guys, really important. Now is the time that you put in your votes, guys. Put in your votes. Really important. Your voices are very much important. And guys, if you like this matchup, I mean, think about the just the amazing talent, the passion, the stories we heard tonight. If you liked tonight, guys, we'll stick around, because we have a special little video called the outro. And at the end of that video, you will see next week's matchup. And I mean, I don't know what that matchup is, but I am excited to find out what that's going to be. So that said, one of the men, these guys just kind of just went in so many amazing directions. Right off the bat, Rick Barry talked about Rabbi Grossman and the influence he had on not only him, Rick Barry, but also his boys, his children, and how at some point one of his sons even wrote a report, or wrote a report or a story on the actual rabbi himself, and that's how much he impacted his life. I thought that was really beautiful, how he kind of really connected it to his children and being there in those really in those amazing moments in their lives when they were either winning on the court and creating these amazing memories on the court and being there for them. Really awesome. Spencer, man, Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King. I mean, I can't disagree with Larry. I mean, wow. Again, two amazing picks. But again, to kind of paraphrase Larry, what he focused on is, living in the times that they did. Well, King living in a time that he did during the late 60s, and how violent and the civil rights movement, how much he kept his center, how much he kept his peace and his message. Same with Nelson Mandela being in prison for all those years and coming out and wanting to, instead of being, resentful and angry, really wanting to, establish more stability, and how they did that, being fascinated by that. And lastly, we got Tom Holland, who, I put it in the comments section. You couldn't Google how do you edit. You had to figure out by yourself, and that was so much part of his journey, kind of figuring out how to create a film and being curious about it and trial and error, and wanting to have Hitchcock and John Ford in the same room to see, how much of his work they enjoyed, or imagine what that learning tree would be like. I can only, imagine. So ultimately, my vote's going to go to Rick. I think Rick really talked about the impact that those two individuals would have on him and his children's lives, and that really spoke wonders to me. But speaking of wonders and wonderful, I am really curious what Giselle has to say about what transpired here tonight. I mean, wow.
Wow is about the only way to sum it up. Howard, thank you so much for that. If you haven't already, please put your votes in the comment section for that first topic. You'll see us come around again and vote on topic number 2. Our live judges' votes are worth 5 points. Your votes are worth 1. And we had the amazing Stevie Ray here giving us his thoughts and opinions as well. After we are done voting, there's so much more to come tonight. We have the outro with the first look at next week's match. Round 2 is heating up even more than it already has been. We have some of the biggest names yet to come. Could they be next week? Could it be an 11th hour? I don't know. You don't know. We will all find out together in the outro once our voting is done here. And what an incredible night, and what an incredible way to start. And after the outro, we have the post show. So stick around, stay on this channel, hit the refresh button about 5 to 10 minutes after the broadcast ends, and we will have the post show where a match of the mini Black Box tournament will occur between myself and one Chad, who you will see very soon, Chad Top 10, with his votes. Still lots to come this evening. So let's get to the hard part so we can get to the other, not more, but the other fun stuff. Hi, Ed. How are you? Thank you for joining us tonight on a Saturday. Ed's super great about watching the Black Box on Wednesdays, which will also soon be, or which is also now streaming on our YouTube channel. So lots coming up here. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe now. Stay tuned for the outro, for the post show. And now let's vote. Whew. Topic 1, welcome to my history. An incredible way to distill your life and really see what's important to you and what you value and why you would choose that particular moment for somebody else to watch. Mr. Barry choosing Jesus and Rabbi Grossman, two well-known figures who seem like they have quite a bit in common, and sharing this generational experience with these people, with his kids, and seeing the pride he has in his children. That was really special to watch and see. And he had about as hard of a time choosing one moment as we do here voting every week. And Mr. Haywood, speaking about the work he did, getting the players health insurance, having underclassmen come in, getting rid of that 4-year rule from college, great work to enable more people access to the sport, to their passion, to their teams. This is why we vote on who resonates with us, because it's their personal stories, and so it can get very difficult at times. And then Mr. Holland speaking about how he fell in love with films and having two of the most influential filmmakers ever, watching him fall in love with this art. But for this first topic, the person who resonated with me the most was Mr. Rick Barry, and being able to share these experiences of his life with his kids, watching that, being so proud of them, and having his kids experience the same pride that he had in his influences, especially with Rabbi Grossman. And now I would like to know what Miranda thinks about this first topic.
Thank you so much, Giselle. Oh my gosh, everyone, my brain is like, I just can't believe what just happened. Tom Holland, we got Spencer Haywood, we got Rick Barry. All of them did an amazing job with this first topic. And by the way, great first topic by Avi, of course, as always. Who would you pick? Two influential people to watch a moment that was impactful for you. This has me thinking about who I would pick as well. I think that Rick Barry and Spencer did an amazing job talking about their families, their children. It was so emotional for me to hear that. I mean, I don't have children of my own, but it's really, I could imagine, you know, my mom seeing things and everything, my family, and it just, the love that they have for their families and their children is incredible. They picked amazing people, you know, Jesus, Rabbi Grossman for Rick Barry, Nelson Mandela, and MLK for Spencer Haywood. I mean, these are some really amazing, influential people that they picked, which is just amazing to hear. I really have to go with Tom Holland for this topic because he chose Alfred Hitchcock, and I forgot the other director's name, but the two very influential, John Ford, there you go, thank you, two very influential people in the horror movie industry who created the first Psycho, and then he picked it up, the second Psycho. He stuck to the topic, and he really connected the dots with these two movies, and it would be so amazing to see how they would react to his rendition, the second Psycho, and that's just incredible to me. I think they would be so proud of him. So I have to give it to Tom Holland for that one. Guys, put your votes down below and stick around for the outro to see what is going to go down next week. We don't even know. I'm so excited for this. And then if you love this debate, check out the post show where Giselle will go head to head with Chad. So refresh your pages for that. Now, speaking of Chad, I'm going to throw the ball to him and see what he thinks.
Muchly appreciated, Miranda. Thank you very much. Wow, like Miranda said, what an amazing topic thought up by Avi once again. The man is just a genius when it comes up to these topics. Everybody, please, it's very, very imperative that you guys get your votes in right now. Help us decide who is going to go into round 3 of this amazing tournament. And then after we're finished this with our voting, please, in the amazing outro, stick around till the end of it. You're going to find out who is going to be facing who next Saturday night. And you'll also see our top 10 picks of the week. Great stuff. But at the end of tonight's show, please wait 5-10 minutes, refresh. You are definitely going to catch our post show where I can guarantee you're going to enjoy another amazing match between myself and, yes, Miss Giselle. It's going to be a match that, you know, everybody's going to watch. It's round 2 of the second conclusion. Let's see who's going to win. So let's get back to the judging, everybody. I'm going to go in reverse. Tom Holland, sir, you chose two great people in Alfred Hitchcock and the amazing John Ford, and how you would want them to depict your work on how you brought what they've done in the past into the future, and how you've put your own thoughts and twists and whatnot into it with your brilliant creative minds and all your amazing horror movies that we love so much. Great job. I mean, your story, it is awesome. Love hearing that. Then that takes me on to Rick Barry. I mean, man, how do you compete with Jesus and Rabbi Grossman? I don't know who Rabbi Grossman is, but learning from Rick tonight on how much he has impacted Rick and Rick's family, and I mean what he's done for Rick's son especially, you know, on, you know, Rick's son looking up to him. I'm a family guy, and I love anything that somebody can connect with my family to make them better. And then just when I thought that, you know, Rick couldn't get beaten, out comes Spencer, and Spencer touches on something. I mean, something that is near and dear to my heart. And it was about his recovery and his choices about, you know, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, and the fact that he was trying to get off of the cocaine and he went into rehab, trying to make himself a better person. And he thought he would take his daughter along with him. Well, that turned into his daughter turning into becoming a psychiatrist and wanting to help people in the future. Now, knowing my history and how stuff like that has helped me to become a better person, I myself am awarding my vote to Mr. Spencer Haywood in this first topic.
Thank you, Chad. That concludes our voting for topic number 1. So now you will get to see all of our lovely faces again as we vote on the second topic for this evening. So if you haven't already, make sure you have your votes in for both topics. You can leave them in one comment, say topic 1 X and topic 2 Y, or if they're both X, topic 1 X, topic 2 X. You can leave them one comment. You can put them in separate comments, but let us know. We are tallying in the back. You will have the results soon. And of course, we have the outro where we look at next week's match for the very first time. I'm excited to see who it is. I always am, because whoever is put together in these matches, it always leads to an incredible discussion that could never happen anywhere else under any other circumstances. And it's so much fun to see if they are people who have maybe been looking to face each other and have similar backgrounds, or if they come from completely different worlds and yet still how we can find what they have in common once we hear their topic. So stay tuned for the outro. That look at that flyer for next week's match, that first look, is so important and so meaningful, and I love seeing it every week. We have it. It's a huge part of what we do, and stay pumped throughout the whole week, because each week is an event, and I don't want this to end. So now I don't have to, because I've got that first look, and I can look forward to what is happening next week. Also, stay tuned for the post show. So after this broadcast concludes, refresh your page. Wait a couple minutes. There will be a new link under that live tab on our YouTube channel, and under that home tab, click that, where you will see myself and Chad top 10 face off in the Black Box mini tournament. And those matches have been so much fun. We've got some good old-fashioned debating. We've got some storytelling. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss the outro with next week's first look, and you don't want to miss my vote for topic number 2. If you could instill one piece of advice in a newborn's mind, what would it be and why? I have a new niece, so I was very interested to hear what these answers were going to be. Spencer Haywood, combining both of his loves, receiving that education and also putting a basketball in that person, in the newborn's hand. It doesn't have to be a basketball. That's metaphorical. We understand that. Working on both of those skills at the same time, being able to find what you love while getting that education, and finding that balance can be super tricky. So even having the option of both of those choices is an amazing start to life already. And then Mr. Barry, take pride in everything you do, but don't be afraid to fail. Failing is how we make discovery. Mistakes are how we learn. Watching other people make mistakes, watching ourselves make mistakes. It's a really beautiful sentiment there, because even if you don't win the gold medal, if you win the silver, if you get a B instead of an A, if you've tried your best and you know deep down you really have, and you've put a lot of work and effort and taken your pride in that, it's disappointing, but it's still a really good feeling. Storytellers are on auditions constantly. We hear no more than we hear yes. So that is a very heartfelt piece of advice that crosses genres. And Mr. Holland, find your passion. Find your passion, and it will bring you life. It will give you life. And that's really what we're about. And if you can make that your living and not be sick of it, as he said, you are doubly blessed. I could not agree with that anymore. But even if your passion isn't your career or your vocation, having that creative outlet, having that thing that brings you joy, that you look forward to each and every week, think about how that makes you feel inside. So my vote for this second topic is going to Mr. Holland. And I'm going to bring a familiar face and one I will be seeing later tonight back on the screen. Chad Top 10. Get in here and vote for topic number 2 right now.
Thanks, Giselle. I may be smiling now, but not later. I can promise you that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, please remember, get your votes in now. This has been an amazing match, and we need your help to choose a winner. And like we said before, do not forget to watch our amazing outro and to watch for who is coming down the pike on next week's amazing match. And as Giselle said, wait 5-10 minutes after the show, refresh, catch the amazing post show, and you're going to watch me and Giselle go head to head one more time. So breaking this second topic down, what one piece of advice would you give to a baby? Wow, this is a great one. And I mean, this is going to be so super hard. I mean, me being a father of 7, there's so many amazing pieces of advice that you can give your child, but which one resonated with me the most? We're going to find that out in just 1 second. Tom Holland, find your passion. Man, let me tell you, I want my kids to find their passion any way they can. They need to know who they are. They need to follow their dreams. They need to stick with it, whether it takes them a week, a month, a year, 5 years, whatever it is, stick with it, because if you stick with it long enough, it's going to come true. That leads me to Mr. Spencer Haywood. He would like to leave something to his grandson, and that is get a firm education. Great sound piece of advice. Something else I really instill in my children to get is education. It can only help us in the future to become better, brighter people and smarter. Who knows? They could be the next people on this show making a difference because they chose to have a higher education. Or as we say, edutainment equals education on TKN. And this brings me to Mr. Rick Barry. Take pride in and I mean in everything you do. Hands down, this spoke to me on many, many levels. Because if you can't take pride in what you do, what is the point on doing anything at all unless you're doing it fully with a purpose? I want my kids to know, and I want them to know, and let everybody know who they are, what they are, and why they are doing it. So for topic 2, I must, and I mean must, give my points to the one and only Rick Barry. Now, Howard, do you agree, or how would you view and how would you judge on this topic, my friend?
Demo, Chad, that was amazing. Thank you for that assessment. I mean, all 3 pieces of advice I think you can run with, and I'm sure will lead you to varying degrees of success. You got Spencer talking about get a firm education. Knowledge it establishes such a great foundation for anything, right? If you're going to go into science, if you're going to go into law, if you're going to go into music, right? Making sure you know the basics of all those things, right? So getting an education around those things, I think it's super important. Rick Barry talked about, taking pride in everything you do. For me, that means making sure that you put your all, your whole being, yourself, everything that you have in every task that you have. And I think, God, that goes a very, very long way. But ultimately, you have pride in everything you do. You have a firm education. But what motivates those things, essentially, it's passion. And I really love how, Tom really talked about this. Even when he said it, it's like he spoke from his gut. And he said, find passion in anything you do. Find your passion. And I think that was a really powerful message for me. It's a very universal one. And I think it's a message that really speaks to so many different generations who really followed their passion and where it leads, and creating a path that's never been perhaps created, a bit prior to you. And I think that's part of what we're doing here in TKN. So another thing that we're doing in TKN is having amazing hosts. And one of those hosts is Miranda. So I'm really curious what Miss Miranda is thinking at this moment. So by the way, my vote goes to Tom. And again, guys, make sure you are voting. Make sure you stick around to watch the amazing outro that'll let you know which match we have Saturday night, and stick around for an amazing post show where we're going to see Chad and Giselle go go at it in an amazing debate. So that said, I'm going to kick it off to Miss Miranda and love to hear her amazing thoughts. So what happens sometimes when Miranda shows up is that she likes to take a dramatic pause.
I don't know, Howard. Thank you, though. But anyways, this was an amazing topic. Wow. One thing that you would like to teach a newborn, or instill in a newborn. I don't even know how Avi comes up with these topics. That's just incredible. I'm thinking about this for a while now. What would I say to a newborn, or what would I want to instill in a newborn? I think all three of these men gave incredible examples. Rick was talking about having pride in everything that you do. And that is incredible. That is something that you really need to do, because otherwise, like Chad said, why are you doing it in the first place? Tom said to find your passion, which I totally agree with, because I think he was also saying if you find your passion and you never have to work a day in your life, because then you're working your passion. And that is so true. And then also what Spencer was saying about his grandson, congrats, Spencer, on your grandson, is that he wants him to have a good education and to also find his passion, which he hopes is basketball, which I understand. That's very nice. And following in his grandfather's footsteps would be incredible. I'm sure that he will have that kind of similarity with his grandfather. I think all of these three men brought it tonight, and shout out to Spencer also for talking about recovery, which is a topic close to my heart as well. Shout out to Stevie Ray for judging. He did such an amazing job, but I will have to go with Rick Barry on this one, because Rick was also saying that if you find your pride and you are prideful about what you do and you're never afraid to fail, then that is how you also find your passion. And that is how you also live your passion and work your passion, which I think is so true. You have to have pride and you have to not be afraid to fail. So I think Rick was right on the money with that. My vote goes to Rick. So everybody vote in the comments below. Stick around for the outro. Stick around for the post show. Refresh your pages. And now we will see what my man Larry has to say about this topic as well.
Thank you, Miranda. I apologize. I don't take those grand pause entrances like she does. Man, these guys brought it. Everything was so amazing. And I'm trying to figure out my vote as I go. So while I'm doing that, why don't you guys go ahead and get your vote in? Because you're the one that makes the decisions, where your votes actually count. And then the post show is coming up. It's going to be incredible where we get a vote again. One piece of advice you could instill in a newborn baby's mind: Spencer, get a firm education, place the basketball in his hand, and he may be able to do both. It's just a driving force in life and can help them in the long run. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a basketball, like they said earlier, baseball, wrestling, whatever you love. It involves passion. And then Rick Barry, take pride in everything you do and don't be afraid to fail. I love that Howard had his pride earlier, and he wasn't afraid to almost fail and remembering to vote, but he did vote. So everyone, get yours in and hang out for the post show, where you get to see Chad bring his passion that he has, Giselle bring her passion, because they're going at it again. And it's a grudge match that I'm loving, because it just keeps getting better. Which brings me to Tom Holland. Find your passion. that embodies, I mean, all these guys embodied TKN, but that embodies TKN fully. You find your passion, you follow it. And that even goes back to what Rick Barry said earlier. It is not a job if you have your passion. So for me, my vote, I am excited for the post show, which comes up directly after the outro. So hang out, watch the outro, see our surprised faces on who's up next. It's hard to tell who's up next. I may be. We'll find out. And go ahead, get your votes in. My vote itself, I am full of passion at the moment because these guys inspired me. So I am voting Tom Holland. Hang out, have fun, join us in the after party where we burn off this energy in the post show. And someone else that I know has a lot of energy and passion, Jamie, you're up, my man.
Larry, I don't know what you're sorry about. Nobody does the dramatic pause like Miranda. Okay, and we all know it. Greenies, this has been an amazing night. Let's get our votes in, please, for the second topic. All right. So for myself, when I looked at all of this different things that's going on, first of all, I'm very thankful for the lessons, gentlemen. Very thankful. Made a lot of sense. Everything that you said. When Spencer Haywood spoke of getting a firm education, but yet making sure to put a basketball in his hand. All right. That spoke to me as a martial artist of yin and yang, right? We're going to need the upstairs here as well as to be in our body. And what a way to teach the next generation that. That's just amazing. And congrats on your grandchild as well, Spencer. I know someone else brought it up. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. When Tom talked of passion, I was chomping at the bit. I was ready to go. Oh my gosh. It reminds me of when Avi is behind the scenes giving us direction, and there's something about igniting that passion that is so important to just be the best versions of ourselves. However, I got to give my vote to Mr. Rick Barry, okay? When he talked about having pride in everything that you're doing, that spoke to me so much. And of course, not for all the same reasons as some of my friends here. I'm going to bring in just a moment so that we can watch this amazing outro. But one of the things that I thought it was absolutely beautiful is that he brought up pride. And we all know, right? It's very, very important to take everything that we're doing seriously. But there's also pride before the fall. Okay? So at the same time, don't be afraid to fail. And that is something that we just don't talk about enough. And as a martial artist, that's something that spoke to me 100%. Okay? Is the pride as well as mixed with not being afraid to fail. All right. So greenies, get those votes in. We really appreciate it. And honestly, it's not easy to judge. So we need your help. We need your help. And it's absolutely imperative, all right, that you like and subscribe and tell your friends about what's going on here. I'm here almost every Saturday and I learned something. And I hope you did too. Tell your friends about it. It's really, really important, and we appreciate so much. Now, in a moment, I'm going to bring in my good friends, okay? The greenies, they're very special to me, and we're going to watch an amazing outro that's going to let us know exactly what is going on and who is meeting in the celebrity tournament next week, Saturday, 8 p.m. Okay, so stick with us as we do this. All right. After the outro, make sure, please, and thank you, hit refresh Absolutely, Eric. When you're going through hell, failure, keep on going. Yeah, brother. Absolutely. We appreciate those comments. We appreciate you. And don't forget, when we sign off, you're going to take a minute. You're going to refresh your screen and meet us in the post show. All right, where we're going to have a quarterfinal match. Okay, quarterfinal black box tournament match between Giselle and Chad. All right, so we're going to see you there. This is going to be absolutely amazing right now. And stay with us for the intro as well as the post show after a refresh. Okay, because it doesn't take much to change the scope of this entire tournament. Absolutely amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Howard Collado, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Greenies, for all your comments today. All right, can I bring in my friends now so we can check out this outro? Can I see the Greenies? Howard Collado. I got Miranda, Giselle, Larry, Chad, top 10. Yes. Are you guys ready for the outro?
Barry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Eddie Johnson.
They're both in round 2.
Coming for them in the second round, baby. I'm coming for
He said it. He called it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the real question is, did he do enough to make it to round 3? Eddie Johnson's already there.
Good question.
Mm-hmm. Are Rick Barry and Spencer Haywood going to join Eddie Johnson in round 3 tonight?
Oh man, that is something else.
Yeah, that's the question. I mean, I think all 3 gentlemen really brought it and in their own ways, but I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough decision. You know, Jamie, what are you thinking?
I hope our Greenies are out there voting, man. Okay, that's what I'm saying, because this was rough. We need to hear them. We need to know what's going on. All right. And we're going to find out in, I don't know, 2 minutes, something like that. Sometime soon, I feel like we're going to find out who exactly won this thing. How do you feel about that, Chad?
Oh, I'm telling you, this is one of the matches that I've been looking for a long time. How do you compete against the king of the granny shot, Rick Barry? How do you go against freaking one of the kings of horror? How do you go against another amazing freaking NBA Hall of Famer in Spencer Haywood?
Right.
I mean, this match is mind-blowing. I tried to tally the votes in my head to see who's ahead.
Right now.
I can't do it. I'm chewing at the bit with anticipation to find out. What do you think, Larry?
I said all week that forgetting everyone's names. I'm so freaking excited.
It's all right, Larry. The votes are in.
Hey, the votes are in at the moment, which is amazing. Right now. So I don't have to wait. So let's find out. I can't.
That's what I'm talking about, Larry.
Just incredible, because all these guys brought it. They were inspiring, amazing. I can't think of. I mean, I don't have time to cover the entire dictionary of how incredible they were. Because
you're killing me, Larry. We're going to know in just a second. I'm going to have a heart attack. Come on.
Oh my God, don't
Let's go.
Round number 2.
In first place and advancing to round number 2. Do we have any idea who it might be? Does anyone have an idea who it might be?
I was saying Rick Barry.
RB. Our initials are RB.
I was saying Rick. Let's see.
I'm thinking Rick.
I was saying Rick.
Yeah.
That seems a pretty great consensus over here on this panel. We think Rick Barry is the top vote getter for the evening. Did a lot of people predict that?
I think it's Rick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're going to find out real soon.
I can't wait any longer.
Okay.
Who would be?
Oh, I think it's Tom.
Ooh, we think Tom got the most votes tonight.
Possible.
Wow, that's possible. Absolutely.
It is.
Congratulations, Mr. Barry.
Go Rick, go Rick.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh man.
Ooh. Maybe
He's
we'll
just
do
a little
an
competitive.
I'm freaking out.
And do we have
Moving on.
who is joining us? Also moving on to
Hey.
What do we got?
Okay.
Give it to us. Give
I
it
was
to
close.
us.
That was close.
Yep, Allison, Ed.
Who do we got?
It's always close.
Yeah, it is.
Tom.
All right.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
Tom. I'm switching it to Tom.
You're switching it.
I was saying Spencer at first. Now I'm saying Tom.
Okay. All
Going
right.
into round three.
Tom's doing it.
You never know.
Oh, we
Round two. Coming for them in this second round, baby. I'm coming for you.
See, coming into the third round.
Is it Spencer? Oh no, I just switched it.
Is that our clue?
Pause, Brenda. Dramatic pause.
I switched it last minute. Why did I do that?
Congratulations, Spencer, as well.
Go Spencer. Tom did great though.
Congratulations, you guys.
Yes,
Oh my
absolutely.
gosh.
Well fought match between all three of them. Wow.
What a match. For
What a
sure.
match. Congrats to all of our viewers out there for helping us make
Thank you
Miss
so much.
Giselle. What is the exact
Yes.
subscriber count at this time or near?
Oh, we were at 71.8 as of the start of this broadcast.
Boom! Yes.
71.8.
71.8
Thank you,
thousand
guys.
subscribers, 71.8 thousand of you, 1,000 people.
Thank you all.
That we are valuable enough to subscribe because you want to know when our lives are. Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m.
Absolutely.
Saturday night, 8 p.m.
Every
Stay
Saturday
tuned.
night, 8
Show on
p.m.
Saturday night for the post show.
Hey,
And
guys.
every Friday night now, also at 8 p.m.
What about Tom Holland's
Yes.
performance tonight?
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
He
Yes.
did- man, this-
Congratulations,
This
Tom.
was an amazing
Tom did amazing. You made me so emotional.
Last name Holland, first name Tom. Tom Holland, welcome, my friend.
Hello, hello, hello. Avi, I stand in awe of your memory and your ability to rhyme, and it's just amazing. Maybe it's just, karma and you're passed on or you're reborn or whatever, but there's got to be something than just the complete loss of everything when we pass.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
It's right here every time.
What a night.
Gosh, my heart.
It's like that. It always reminds me of that moment, like in Back to the Future, when the parents are almost fading from the picture. It's rough.
Robert, good ball.
But
bring it.
Thank you,
Give a
Tom.
round of applause to one Tom Holland.
Yes, thank you, Tom.
Yeah, those of us at home, join
Yes,
us
thank
too.
you, Tom.
So true.
He had a really fun round one match, and tonight was beautiful. It's getting more and more difficult to describe in words what each week means and how something like this is so captivating. And so the best way to do that is to get people to watch. And because we have such a wide array of talent from so many different genres, who do you think is going to be up next week?
Oh my gosh, that is a good question.
No, I can't even think.
I
mean,
have
I
no
don't-
idea. It's so many people left.
Yeah,
it's
But there's one word that could answer that question. We have a video, and what is it named? 3, 2, 1. It is
Outro.
Outro.
Let's do it.
Nice.
Obsession's going to be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about?
Must you allow yourself to do anything but give a laser beam from right there of what is true and authentic?
And someone expects you to be a character and you're not, you can see the disappointment and even offense that they take.
And brought money back, and paid for everything, and money was back over again. And you're talking about, 1950s, 40s, but these guys learned from them old magicians.
He came up to SAG, Bobcat Barrel, and he goes, "It's over. That's all it's gonna be. It's over."
So I had to answer that in the best way possible, and I have to also read the room because if I'm in New York, it's, I'm gonna watch out, or they're gonna jump me. If I'm in Boston, they might jump.
We do things different, and what's great is now when you drive by a Little League field, you start seeing kids having long hair and different kind of styles, and, it's kind of cool.
Sometimes we have to step out in faith and look fear in the eye to overcome something that seems insurmountable.
It was like being on the end of a meteor and this thing just going 5 bajillion miles an hour. I didn't get to, sit and try to figure it out.
Nice.
I would rather avoid pain myself, and I would do whatever I could to avoid pain for others.
Please give today to help us further Pat's legacy of leadership and service. See, we'll run the race. You write a check or make a few internet clicks. We're pretty sure you have the easier part of the deal here.
I go and talk to a lot of inner city kids about certain things that are going on in the inner city that most of the world doesn't know anything about, of which I came up in.
I remember me and Brett went on the road. We was tag team partners. Guys, I don't even know. He didn't even know if he was in the NWO or not at the time. He was like partially in and partially not in.
This is not entertainment. This is a recounting of history. You realize there's a religious aspect to it.
And it was just a fluke. I tried out for a play, almost on a dare. Didn't get cast, but the experience of auditioning, I was like, maybe it's because after I did my audition, there was a smattering of applause, and nobody had ever applauded anything I'd done.
Or coming to, at least with an attitude of, hey, I don't know. Because the more you don't know, the more you find, the more you, how's that phrase go? The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Man, I have the house keys as well as the car keys. My parents down south, way down south. We're in.
Skywalker would have a bounty. He would say, yo, if you knock a player out from the other team, I give you $100, I give you $200. So this is how they had to live. It wasn't a flourishing place, you know, where money was flying out the thing with big donors and everything.
He would say, Robin would say, everything he said was funny, but he would say different things from take to take. So as a director, I know sometimes Reggie was just like, oh man, I gotta match the shit. There's certain things that have to be the same.
We all took oaths, my mother, father, my brother, and I, that we would defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Fourth branch of government. Our media was there to be the check of watching the other three, but our media today, mainstream, is not that, Larry.
Takes a lot out of you, but you got to keep your eye on the prize. And he drives us, making that heart, loving yourself and loving God and loving your fellow man.
New character, right? Because I really getting entrenched into the beefcake gimmick, know. So it was a little difficult at first trying to jump right into this barber thing, but luckily it caught on and I kind of got.
They were huge. They were hit after hit after hit all through the 40s, but by 1948. They were growing a bit threadbare in the public's observation. It started with the producer, David Kirshner. It was his idea. He had produced An American Tail for Amblin and Spielberg. And he found out about me because of my work at Amazing Stories and then writing Batteries Not Included.
Sure, take notes. Yeah, take notes, JW, because you could learn a thing or two. What I've learned is not something I've learned on my own. I've learned from just showing up here. I learned from Avi. I learned from everyone.
And she said, God knew that your niece was going to need you.
No. Then when he came back as the hero, he does to help her son. He then protected him from the machines to save the world. So it was, the whole world was on the line with him.
You shit on my house. No. The guy who's willing to die, who's going to win that itch. And I know if I'm going to have any life anymore. You got to look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're going to see a guy who will go that inch with you.
You know what? Maybe one of the world's problems will get solved by listening to this show.
I'm going to win this whole thing. Watch.
I know you are, Tom. I know you are.
Wow.